Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. How are you guys? What's up? We are back with some chaos and some head. Ooh. I had a little bit of an emergency, but I have food now, and it does sound just like good pussy. Oh, the mic isn't picking up. My joke doesn't work. My joke doesn't work. God damn you, noise suppression. It's just the usual wet sounds. You know how like mac and cheese and such stuff. New opening. Oh yeah, this game has multiple different openings. I've never actually seen a game do that. Have multiple different openings that play on main screen. Anyway, hi everyone. I have oatmeal. Strawberries and cream oatmeal to be specific. Usually, you guys like oatmeal? Cause like, I didn't used to be a fan of oatmeal, but then I discovered this specific instant oatmeal in the UK. And that's just been like a little pleasure snack, let's call it. I then check if we have... We do. Wonderful. I'm so glad that we do indeed have a save. That's the biggest thing, honestly. Hi, Joe. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the stream. How's your week going? Today at the end of my workday, I was literally like the last 30 minutes, I was just praying for it to end because I was just so tired of people asking me absolutely stupid questions. Like... I don't know, man. My patience has been running thin at work. Oatmeal, B rank at best. Yeah, you know, I gotta get that. I feel like the rank of oatmeal for me increases greatly if it's like a Groot good, like fruity oatmeal and like creamy. That's why strawberries and cream works? Doesn't that make sense? Recap of last stream's insanity. Absolutely crazy. And also main character who doesn't know how to communicate with anyone on planet Earth. Anyway, I'll be munching. For instant oatmeal, this shit is really good. I think this costs like... What is it, like... £3 for like 10 servings? And you just have to mix it with milk. It's amazing. Anyway, where do we actually like stop? Backlog. Oh, the backlog doesn't work if I loaded? That's kind of dumb. Okay. Oh! That was a good crack. Holy shit. Okay. I hid myself behind a lamppost and stared at a club called Gigantes? 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 Like gigantic? In the end, I had spent a whole day thinking and worrying about it before finally deciding to go. Gigantes? Gigantes? Did I go Gigantes? Gigantes was in a distinctive red brick building near the Shibuya train tracks. Its exterior was lit up in a way that made it feel old, like something that would have been popular in the 70s or 80s. I had no idea there was still a place like this in Shibuya. It was just 5 minutes from the station, but there were barely any people around. Sometimes I could hear a train passing above. Vibrations from the loud noise would shake the lamppost I was hiding behind. Until a moment ago, there had been a lot of people out front wearing outfits that could be easily mistaken for cosplay. Well, maybe not a lot of them. It was surprising how relatively few of them they were. For all that talk on the internet about Phantasm, there were probably only 100 or so people here. They were all inside now. The concert had started. The sound didn't reach the outside though, so it was still dead quiet. What are you panting for? The nervous sensation in my heart that had started yesterday had only gotten worse when I arrived here. It hurt so much to breathe that I was beginning to wonder if I had some kind of heart disease. No, the reason was much simpler than that. It was dark around here. The demon girl or her servants could be lurking anywhere. I was desperately scanning the area around me, looking for anyone who might be about to jump me. Being there made me feel as tense as being in a once volcanic labyrinth in ESO. The once volcanic labyrinth was full of overpowered enemies, and the area itself was filled with lava. The slightest touch of lava meant instant death. How many times had I died in that zone? I wiped the sweat off my forehead with a hand towel and gulped. The door at the top of the stairs to Gigantes opened, and for a moment I could hear the sound of drums being violently pounded on. A boy came out the door. He ran down the stairs and over to me.
Yo, Taku. Matta ka?
Wait, what is he doing here? What? Misumi is such an interesting individual. We do need a recap. No, apparently we just find out that he invited him for some reason. Why is he here? I was the one who had invited him to this concert. I didn't know his cell number, so I'd been forced to go to school that day and talk to him. Why is he here? I don't think I could have gotten to Gigantes without him. And even if I had, if the demon girl was inside, it would be game over the minute I opened the door. That's why I had enlisted him as a scout. It felt like I was using him, and I did feel a little guilty. Not that I said anything to him about it, of course. The only ones I could ask were him and Nanami. I opted for the one who'd be less obnoxious, which meant Misumi. I would pay for his ticket. In other words, I'd be basically hiring him for 1,000 yen. Damn, bro is cheap.
ほらよ、これ CD な。俺自分の分も買っちまったよ。
He handed me a copy of Phantasm's album. They were going for a huge premium online, but I had read on Atchan that you could buy one at a concert, so I decided to have Misumi get one for me. Why wouldn't you? Wait, you can just go and buy it yourself. Why are you making him go for you? Now half my goal was accomplished. The other half was...
いやー、予想以上にいいな。ファンタズムって。
He had just left the concert hall and seemed a little excited.
俺、あんまミーハーになりたくなかったんで聞こうとしなかったんだけどよ。今日ちょっと生で聞いただけでファンになっちまった。
The other thing I had asked him to do was describe the band members for me. They had all come out as soon as the concert began, so all he had needed to do was take a quick look and report back to me. But I hadn't seen him for 5 whole minutes after the concert had started. It seemed like the reason for that was him deciding to listen to their first song.
特にボーカル。ありゃマジでいい女だぜ。
I'm not surprised that that's his comment. That's all he remembered.
お前、女見る目あるな。
Yeah, Misumi was only ever going to think about things with his little head. So much for not liking what's popular.
どんな人だった？
ああ、そっか。報告な。なんか探偵みてえで面白いな。そう思わね
え？ He grinned and began to describe Fest to me.
髪型はショートカットだった。
え？
Huh? That didn't match the demon girl at all. Did that mean Fest wasn't the demon girl, Dan? No way. It was too soon to be sure. You could always cut your hair or add extensions if you wanted. She might have been in disguise when I had run into her at the murder scene. And I'm totally not being paranoid.
スタイルがすっげえ良くて、あと背が高かったな。ありゃ俺と同じぐらいはあるんじゃねえの？
背が
About Misumi's height? Misumi's height wasn't much different from mine, so Fest was about 170 centimeters tall. Pretty tall for a girl. But when I had run into the demon girl, she hadn't seemed especially told to me. My memories weren't really that Can't speak. My memories weren't really that clear, but she had seemed to be shorter than I was. Another thing that didn't match.
他には
そうだな。アンニュイな雰囲気してたな。
A what? A feeling of listlessness and dissatisfaction arising from a lack of occupation or excitement. I see. Do you guys know that word?
声はクールってイメージかな。結構ボソボソと喋るタイプだった。胸のサイズはまあまあ。
Thank you.
でもゴスパンの服は妙な色気があったぜ。ああいうのもありだな。断然あり。
It was no good. Just hearing someone else describe her wasn't going to be good enough. I had only gotten a quick glance at the demon girl anyway. I don't think I could have described her even if you asked me to. Maybe this whole plan was a waste of time.
っていうかよ。そんなにフェスに興味あるなら自分の目で見ればいいじゃねえか。ほら、行こうぜ。
Misumi pushed me up the stairs of Gigantes. I tried to resist, but he was stronger than me and I couldn't escape.
待って。
見たいんだろフェスの顔を。素直になるって。浮気ってのは男の性だよな。たくも大人になったもんだぜ。
は？
この前一緒に帰ってたメガネの子のことは今夜だけは気にすんなって。俺も田中のことは忘れるからよ。
What was he talking about? I tried to resist, but I realized it was too late. We were already at the top of the stairs. It was only a single floor of the ground, but if I struggled here and slipped, a fall would hurt bad. The thought made me stop struggling. When I stopped resisting, Misumi shoved me through the door and into the concert hall. When I went inside, my ears were assaulted with a wave of sound. I had never experienced anything this loud. I could feel it shaking the bottom of my stomach, and the vibrations felt like they threatened to tear me apart. There weren't any seats, everyone was standing. The audience rocked their bodies in time of the rhythm, and I could hear cries of "Fess! Fess!" in time of the music. Their movements weren't as coordinated as the otage you saw at idol concerts, but they were still really impressive. The intensity was incredible. I felt like I was about to throw up from the heat of so many bodies. I was an otaku, but not an idol or voice actress otaku. So, to be honest, I didn't like concerts like this. The one saving grace was that nobody was looking at me, but I couldn't deny that I was terribly out of place here. There were so many people that I couldn't get a clear look at the stage. The most I could make out were the silhouettes of 4 people standing under bright stage lights. As I stood there, overwhelmed, Misumi handed me a plastic cup with some soda in it. He must have paid for my ticket. I'd have to pay him back later. And then, the song ended. A wave of cheers and applause went out from the audience. Hi Alexa! Welcome to the stream! Good luck with your cleaning. I had to clean my room recently because I had guests over. So now my room is not a complete mess. Isn't that crazy? I very rarely have people over. And I don't really care for, like, huge cleanliness myself. So I don't really clean my room. I truly only clean out of necessity. Finally, everyone lowered or raised fists. I had a clear view of the stage. I could get a clear look at the short-haired girl up there. She definitely wasn't a demon girl.
今日はいつもより調子いいわ。
Like, I know they said goth punk, but I somehow expected something less. She looks familiar. I think this is the same girl that we had this little, like, scene of her, like whistling or singing on a street?
声がクリアに聞こえる。
Oh god, she's hearing voices.
世界がとても澄んでいる。
Her voice, picked up by the amplifier and coming through the speakers, was nothing like the demon girl's either. I can fix her. Fess had, as Misumi said, a sense of ennui about her. She didn't seem boyish despite her short hair. She had a strange aura that was simultaneously cute and seductive, but also aloof. If you say so. If you say so, dude. The accessories on her body reflected in the lights and gleamed silver, giving her a strange, unearthly look, like something from a fairy tale. I could understand why she was so popular in Atchan. You'd expect a singer like her to be loud and passionate, or so I assumed, but Fess was calm as she spoke into the mic. It was the complete opposite of the excitement of the crowd. Maybe that was just her personality. But the audience knew better than to shout over her. There was silence as she spoke, and everyone listened.
呼吸突性の門が閉じているからかもしれない。
Okay, girl! What are we talking about? One of two rivers found at the entrance to the underworld in Greek mythology. Its name means the River of Wailing. The dead cross this river to enter the underworld. So, what is extent? Okay. The gate to Casidas is closed. What did she say? Casidas? What language was that?
世界の均衡は大いなる意志が生まれてから数千年間保たれていた。でも今それは崩れつつある。とても不安定。だから私は歌うわ。
This feels like... I'm sorry for this, but this feels like a vtuber lore video. The world is in shambles. There is no future. Casidas is closed. And that's why I stream on Twitch!
君たちのカオスを受け入れてあげる。
Oh, now I understood. She was speaking in character. It was a goth punk thing. Maybe she was trying to say stuff that sounded ominous even if you didn't know what it meant. It would make her seem kind of mystical and help her connect better with her fans. In fact, Fess was holding something strange in her hand. In her left hand was a normal mic, but in her right was a strange mic stand that looked like some kind of sword. It had a strange form with flowing curves that felt alien and dangerous, and it looked so sharp that even touching it might threaten to sever a finger. It was huge, just as big as she was. The glass embedded in the stand glowed with a strange pale light. I wasn't sure if it even was a mic stand, but it was the perfect prop to help define her character. I found myself strangely unable to take my eyes off of it. Fess raised the huge mic stand above her head, and with an underhand grip she swung it in an arc in front of her. The pale light of the glass made a half circle in the air. That was really dangerous. What if it hit someone? Maybe it wasn't a mic stand, but a sword. And maybe, like, she would cut off the head of a member of the audience each night in order to offer up their still warm blood to the demon girl. We are being quite paranoid. That would make this whole concert a black mass led by witches. Why did cheers end so abruptly? I began to shiver. Maybe it would be better to just leave now.
次は3曲目。密教の首飾り。
Another huge cheer went up from the audience. The members of the band all began to move at once, and a flood of sound hit my ears again. It felt like it was going to destroy my eardrums. How did they all keep from going deaf? I looked to my side and Misumi was having a great time, raising his fist in a rhythm along with the rest of the audience. The intro ended and Fest began to sing, and the lyrics made me freeze. Why? That was such a weird transition. This was the prophetic song that I had seen on Atchan. It was a dark song with a glimmer of hope to be found in it. Maybe it was partially the lyrics too, but the melody felt almost religious. As the song progressed, the crowd's cheers faded, and before long they were silent. All of them were listening intently, however, and some of them even seemed to be gazing at Fess in a kind of ecstasy. There was certainly something in her voice that drew you to her. Even as I fought against my fear of the crowd and the urge to vomit, I was listening to make sure I heard her sing. Somehow, the temperature of the room seemed to drop to below freezing in an instant. The song ended. Fess looked down, her body swaying from side to side, immersing herself in the last seconds of the song. Thank you so much for the follow, Masked Visionary. Welcome to the galaxy. Hope you enjoy it here. How's your day going? Are you interested in Chaos Head Noah? Have you played it? Is she a siren? No, I think she's just mentally ill. Easy mistake. Then she suddenly raised her head, and without any doubt or hesitation, looked right at me? Okay, that's freaky. That's freaky. Why? How are you aware of me? Okay, chat. As usual. Positive delusion? Reality or negative delusion? Pick. It's a misunderstanding, surely. Surely this isn't that freaky. Oh god. Oh. Face reality? Boy. The reality is pretty scary. I wonder if a positive delusion would be actually better. I don't mean our eyes met for a moment or that she was looking in my direction. She was clearly looking straight at me. I'm back for making dinner and hot golf, mama! Nicer, Chad. Enjoying what you're seeing? Staring, as if trying to see all she could. As if trying to see who I was. As if trying to see into my heart. Her gaze was so powerful. And for some reason, kind of sad. The next thing I knew, I'd run outside. I ran down the stairs outside Gigantes and crouched down at the very bottom step. I tried to catch my breath, but it wasn't working. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there. My heart was pounding super fast. My whole body was drenched with sweat.
おい、どうしたんだよ、タク。いきなり飛び出して。
What happened? We went to the club and her hot golf mama said, boy, you're too nerdy to be here. So she's the singer of the band Fess, right? And we were watching the concert, but suddenly she just, like, looked up and just stared right at us. So that was freaky. Misumi caught up to me. He sounded annoyed.
もう出ちまうのかよ。これからさらに盛り上がりそうだったのに。で、どうだよ、フェスは。可愛かったろ。
I shook my head without looking up. I didn't care if she was cute or not. Sure she was, but I wasn't into pretty girls. What mattered was those lyrics. I couldn't hear them all, but that song had to be talking about the Nugent murders. Of course, I couldn't be 100% sure. But Fess knew something. I was sure of it. I had never figured out if she was a servant of the demon girl, though. The girl, stained red, turns round 'neath the full moon. And she had looked at me. That wasn't a delusion. I wasn't mistaken about what I had seen. Fess was clearly looking straight at me. What did the emotions I had seen in her eyes mean? Why did she look so sad? I didn't understand. The logical thing to do would be to just ask Fess herself, but that was impossible for me. I couldn't go back or talk to Fess directly. I wasn't capable of it.
もう二度と来るもんか。
I forced the words out of my mouth, wiping sweat off my forehead. More delusional than Hitomi? Don't believe it? Hello? This is so fucked up. The first thing I did after coming home from the Phantasm concert was boot up ESO. There was a half-eaten bag of chips next to my computer. They were stale, but I didn't mind. They were actually pretty good this way. ESO was my life. It was a place where I could feel at home, a place that would help me forget all the awful things that happened in reality. Inside ESO, I could forget all the bad things that happened. I ceased to be me and became Nightheart, free to travel as wished in Baselard. But today, Nightheart wasn't doing so good. Of course, I knew it was my fault. The problem was with my own judgment and reaction times. But I was failing at things I could normally do easily. I was playing to make myself feel better, but I was just feeling worse.
なんだよこいつ。捨てるぞお前。
I knew it was my own fault, but I still yelled at Nightheart.
ああもうムカつく。
I tore at my hair and kicked the exposed metal plating that formed the wall of my room. After working out my anger, I sighed and leaned back into my chair. I stared at a monitor, only half paying attention to what was on the screen. Nightheart was no longer under my control. He was standing at the entrance of Shangri-La City, facing in a random direction with his back turned to me and not moving an inch. I always fought the enemies like this, with his back to me. Nightheart's experience points were maxed out, of course.
僕の経験値っていくつなんだろう。
Had the person named Takumi Nishijo grown at all since I had started ESO? No, since I had even been born. If I had, why was it so hard to talk to people? Why was I living a life that was one step away from being a total hikikomori? If I didn't log in for a few weeks, would Nightheart become a hikikomori too? What? Would your character in an MMO become a hikikomori if you didn't log in? What are we saying? Whose eyes are those? For some reason, as I looked at Nightheart's back, I remembered those words. I started to wonder what Nightheart did when I wasn't controlling him. He was not existing. What? Why are we being Delulu without even having delusions quite yet? What is happening? I kept my hands off the keyboard for a while, eating my stale chips and watching him.
もしナイトハルトに自我があるとしたら。
He'd be walking tall through the city of Shangri-La, head held high. He was a hero and everyone loved him.
ねえ、ナイトハルト。
Oh.
僕はいつでもお前を見てるんだぞ。
Chat, positive delusion? Reality or negative delusion? I'm so confused and intrigued at the same time. What is happening here? Okay, so we're playing a visual novel, Chaos Head Noah, which you might know Steins Gate, because that was pretty popular. Chaos Head Noah is like the game that came before Steins Gate in the same series. And in this game, you play as a dude who just is very delusional and very antisocial. And in moments like this, you get to pick if you want to have a positive delusion, have a negative delusion, or just stay within reality. And the first time you play through the game, it doesn't matter what you pick, because you're kind of locked into the first ending. So I'm letting chat pick every time, and then once we play through the whole thing and we have to get additional endings, then I'll just follow a guide. Also, like, to people who haven't been watching the whole thing, if at any moment in time you need something explained, feel free to ask, you know? But at the same time, if you also want to catch up, all of the VODs from this game are available on Twitch or on YouTube. They are in higher quality on YouTube, so I would recommend watching there. But watch wherever you're comfortable. Or watch wherever you prefer.
お前はそれに気づいてるの?
And then, the monitor was bathed in a bright light. I was caught off guard and closed my eyes.
気づいてないと思ったのか?
He's actually talking to us? This is our first negative Delulu choice? I think we had one negative before. I heard a voice.
いつも俺はお前の命令に従ってきたのに.
The voice was coming from the monitor.
俺の中の人がここまでバカだとは思わなかったぜ.
I've been reading too much yaoi at work today, so I misunderstood this sentence at first. I'm sorry. Who are you? I opened my eyes, but the light a moment ago had blinded me. I couldn't see a thing.
もういい. 俺はお前を捨てる.
What do you mean you're deleting me?
これからは自由に生きる.
Was that Nightheart? What did he mean he was going to delete me?
そのままの意味だ. だからお前はバカなんだ.
Freaky. I made you! You're my character! Are you rebelling against me?
そうだ. もううんざりだ. 何が疾風陣雷だ. 中二病にも程があるだろう. お前にわかるか? 俺がどんな気持ちでそう呼ばれていたか. お前はかっこいいつもりだったかもしれないがな. 俺からすれば恥ずかしいだけなんだよ. でも俺は自分の言葉を発することもできず、じっと耐えるしかなかったんだ。
うるさい！生意気だぞ！そんなこと言うなら消すぞ！
勝手にしろ。だがな、これだけは覚えておけ。お前が俺をボタン一つで消せるように、お前もお前の中の人にボタン一つで消される程度の存在なんだと。
Okay, so we're still with the whole thing, but there is someone controlling us, huh? What was he talking about?
まあ、実際にはそんなことあるわけないけどね。
What a wonderful way of ending it. Anyway. Well, anyway. I chuckled a little at my delusion and stared at Nightheart, who was still standing silently in the world of Baselard. Maybe I'd keep him a little safer than usual today. Do less risky things. I started playing once more. I'll tell it just as it happened. I went to school today, and when it was over, I found myself buying a cell phone with my little sister. You might not understand what I'm talking about. I didn't understand what had happened to me either.
お兄何ブツブツ言ってんの それよりほら、この記事はどうかって聞いてるんだけど。
God, I wanted to go home. How many times would I have to tell her that I didn't want a cell phone before it sunk in? When I got to school today, she had barged right into my classroom. Wow, look who actually came to school today! She had said, and then she'd ordered me to come buy a phone with her. And after school, I tried to escape before she could find me, but I had forgotten how fast she could be. She had easily found me, caught up to me, and dragged me to a shop in front of the station. I don't want to go anywhere near the station. I never did. Every time I went, I felt like I would throw up any minute now. Nanami didn't know I care about how I felt, though. She was looking at all the different display models and muttering to herself. I couldn't understand why Nanami would care about what kind of phone I got.
これ、色が結構可愛いじゃん。いいと思うな。
She asked my opinion and I gave the obvious answer.
それっていい？
でもな、お兄にはちょっと可愛すぎかも。似合わなさそう。
I told her I was fine with it, and she didn't listen. I had lost count of how many times I had told her I was okay with whatever model she wanted. She asked my opinion, but didn't seem interested in listening to it. That was the problem with 3D women.
お兄、大丈夫？やっぱり人の多さにやられちゃった？マクディで休もうか？
MacD's? You want me to go into a fast food chain that's full of documents? That would be even worse than this place. I furiously shook my head.
そっか。じゃあ、なるべく早めに決めるね。でも、ちょっと迷っちゃっててさ。
I sighed and decided to leave her behind so I could go home. She was staring intently at the rows of cell phones, which gave me an opportunity to slip away. I started to walk toward a 107 when I saw something so startling I came to a stop. What was that? On the other side of the huge crowd of people, on the steps to the 107 building, there was a girl who stood out from the rest. Was she holding a sword? I don't see anything. Am I supposed to see something here? Its colors and the way it looked reminded me of the mic stand that Fess had been holding during a concert. It was probably from the same product line, I assume. It sure was a big sword, though. It might have been even longer than the one Fess had been holding. The girl with the sword was, surprisingly, wearing a sumo uniform. From this distance, I couldn't make out her face. Even though she was holding something so huge and attention-grabbing, she was standing there calmly as she looked down at the people below her. It must have taken a ton of courage to do that. I was really impressed. Seriously. Carrying a huge toy sword like that in the middle of Shibuya, wasn't that incredibly embarrassing? Oh, honey. Toy sword? Oh, honey. That sword was probably an accessory for some new anime cosplay. Of course, I kept an eye on all the new anime that's coming out. Was there anything with a sword like that this season? Had I missed it? There was no way I would ever be able to carry something like that through the middle of Shibuya, but it was a really sweet sword. I kind of wanted one. I wonder if they were still selling them in Akihabara. Maybe online?
Oni!
Oh! I suddenly took a heavy elbow to the back. I almost crumpled to the ground in pain. I turned around to see Nanami looking at me, arms crossed in anger.
もしかして逃げようとした？確かにナナが選ぶのに時間かけすぎたのは悪いと思うけどさ。だからってナナを置き去りにして逃げようとするなんてひどいよ。
I shook my head, or tried to, anyway.
お兄のバカ、携帯の電磁波の浴びすぎで腎臓を悪くして死んじゃえ。
What a thing to say. What was she talking about?
一生懸命お兄のために選んであげてたナナがバカみたいじゃん。こうなったらもう適当に決める。お兄なんてナナと同じ機種で十分だよ。
Isn't that what we said originally? Just get me the same one and move on? She grabbed me by the arm, hard.
本気で今日契約するんだからね。それまで絶対逃がさない。
わかったよ。話せよ。
分かったならさっさと来て。
I had no idea why this was such a big deal to her. She really was an annoying little sister. In the end, all that time she had spent picking a phone was totally wasted, as she just ended up getting me the same one she had. After an hour or so of signing contracts and filling out paperwork, I tried to take my phone and go, but Nanami stopped me.
ナナが初期設定してあげるからマグディやろ。
She ignored my protestations and grabbed me by the collar, dragging me to the nearest MacD's.
どうせお兄携帯持って帰っても電源入れずにほったらかしにするに決まってるんだから。ナナがちゃんと使えるようにしてあげる。
Damn it. She was really determined to make me miserable. Why did it have to be a MacD's? MacD's, no. Sorry. MacD's in Shibuya was hell. There would always be way too many people, and it would be incredibly loud with a Dokyun ratio of the charts. A group of three Dokyun-looking brown-haired mothers and their kids were sitting at a table next to me. Their kids, and all three were little brats with red streaks dyed in their hair, were running around the store screaming. Their mothers were simply ignoring them. At another table, four Dokyun-looking teenage boys were laughing loudly in their obnoxious voices. Two high school girls in loose socks were sitting across from each other, both staring at their phones. They weren't talking. Next to them, a middle-aged salaryman was lying head down on a table, snoring. He was clearly skipping work. A table a little further away was even stranger. A group of 5 boys and girls in elementary school had set their backpacks on the ground and were dangling their legs as they happily chatted with one another. A group date? You're in elementary school and you're on a group date? It was people I wanted nothing to do with as far as the eye could see. It was amazing that Nanami could feel at home here. The sheer number of people were making my head hurt and I felt like I was going to vomit. Why did I have to be here with my sister at MacD's anyway?
ねえねえ、着信メロディーはどうする？なんか希望ある？
She wasn't even looking at me, just playing with my phone.
アニソン。
却下。そんなだからお兄はオタクさんなんだよ。
You were the one who asked me. It's my phone anyway. Let me put what I want on it.
あ、そうだ。大村彼らの新曲にしたら？あれすっごくいい曲だよ。最近のナナのお気に入り。
それこそ却下だ。
うん、まあお兄に大村彼らは似合わないか。
She cruelly insulted her older brother as she bit into a french fry. Now I want french fries. God damn it. Now I got a craving. How dare they? She had ordered a fish sandwich combo even though we hadn't had dinner yet. I had had to pay too. For my part, I felt too sick to even consider eating anything. It wasn't fair.
あ、そうそう。それとね。
For some reason, she pulled her bag up to her lap and began to look through it.
お、あったあった。
And then she took out...
ゲロカエルンの不良品。
That shit is so ugly.
不良品じゃないよ。先週出たギョロリゲロカエルン。
は？
知らないんだ。やっぱ遅れてるな、お兄は。ゲロカエルンって毎週金曜日に新作が発売されてるんだよ。
Every single Friday?
もう全部で12種類ぐらいあるんだから。
Really? Was there enough demand for a new one every week?
ナナが携帯につけてるのは最初に出た普通のゲロカエルンでしょ。で、次がデブッチョゲロカエルンで、その次がカクカクゲロカエルン。
She knows the order of them too? She quickly ran off the names of the various Gera Froggies.
第4弾がのっぺらゲロカエルンで、第5弾が輝くゲロカエルン、第6弾が一番人気があって猫ゲロカエルンっていうの。その後が幽霊ゲロカエルン、眠るゲロカエルン、
I do have to say I'm a bit sad that we don't get a CG of to see all of these froggy versions. Wow, had she memorized them all? Wait a second, did that mean...
お前コンプリートしてるの？
Don't ask questions you're not ready to hear the answers to, you know?
もちろんだよ。全部集めなきゃ意味ないもん。
Or what doesn't count? What do you mean, or it doesn't count?
毎週買うのに行列ができるんだからね。
They do? Why had she started giving me a lecture about Gera Froggy anyway?
というわけで、このギョロリゲロカエルンあげる。
なんで？
このストラップを携帯につければ、少しは女子から「お、やるな」っていう目で見てもらえるから。
Damn! Damn! That's rough. Why is Gera Froggy so insanely story relevant all the time? That's my question, because it's pretty funny. Because it's pretty funny, and I think that's enough of a reason. She began to attach it to my phone despite my obvious disapproval.
コンプしなきゃ意味ないんだろ。僕がそれもらったらお前揃わないぞ。
心配しなくても大丈夫。
Of course she did. Of course she did.
毎回2つ買ってるのか？
I was really starting to worry about her sense of taste.
今回だけだよ。お兄の携帯用に余分に買ったの。
わざわざ。
わざわざ。
She finished attaching the strap and nodded, satisfied, before taking a sip of her drink. But then suddenly, she gasped and leaned toward me.
別に並んだのはお兄のためじゃないよ。あくまでついでなんだから。
いらない。
Nanami leaned forward with wide eyes. She looked ready to leap across the table from... She looked ready to leap across the table at me.
いらないって、ナナがわざわざ買ってきてあげたのに。
ついでだったんだろ。っていうか、僕ゲロカエルンとか興味ないし、むしろキモいし。
だからお兄は女子にモテないんだよ。
I thought she was going to slap me, but instead, she calmly sat down and began to nibble at her fries.
で
Nibble
も
at her fries.
抵抗しても無駄だからね。
Stop telling me about fries, I'll get
もう
sad.
くっつけちゃったもん。
When was the last time I had fries? I think it's been a while. It was like she thought she was in control here. Well, I guess she was. I hated to admit it, but she knew way more about phones than me.
もし勝手に外したら毎週並んでもらうの刑だからね。
並ぶって何に？
決まってんじゃん。新作ゲロカエルンを買うための行列。2時間待ちとか普通だから。
You stand for 2 hours to get an ugly ass keychain of a derpy frog? What has society come to? Like... Insane. Why did I have to be threatened by my own little sister? She kept fiddling with my phone for a while after that. It kept her quiet, so I preferred it this way.
なんだか変な気分だな。
The next time she spoke, her bad mood had disappeared. Maybe she was the type who didn't need to sleep on something unpleasant to forget about it. She could forget it after just a few minutes. What an easygoing personality she had. In a way, I was jealous.
うん、やっぱ変だよ。お兄とこうして二人で出かけるのって久しぶりな気がするもん。いつ以来かな。よく思い出せないや。お兄はいっつも部屋にこもってアニメ見てるかゲームしてるかだもんね。ま、たまにはこういうのもいいかな、新鮮で。さすがに毎日はナナも嫌だけど。
Oh, we get a CG. Nom. God, I wish I had a burger in my mouth right now. Nanami put my phone on the table and picked up her fish sandwich. She happily took off the wrapper and bit in. I suddenly remembered her saying that she liked the fish sandwiches here.
せいぜい太るがいいさ。
She suddenly froze. She was looking at me with hatred in her eyes. And then, after a moment's hesitation, she slowly offered me the half-eaten sandwich.
半分食べる？
I had a burger in my mouth just 30 minutes ago, and you didn't share? You didn't make any for me? This is so fucked up.
もう手遅れだよ。
そういうこと言うと上司に嫌われるって覚えといた方がいいよ、バカ鬼。
In the end, she ate the whole sandwich by herself. You greedy girl. After that, I was forced to listen to more of her boring stories before she finally handed the phone over to me. By then, the sun had set. It had been a long, painful few hours. I was finally able to say goodbye and head home. Fall was in full swing, and the chill of the night breeze did wonders to calm my headaches and urge to vomit. Being in a crowd for a long time always made my head hurt and made me want to throw up. I wished Nanami would die. Not literally die, but you know. But you know? Do I know? What's the other way of dying? Holy shit, I recognize this place. Yeah, we're literally in the center of Shibuya. The building right next to it is the 107. Or 109. It's 107 in the game, it's 109 in real life. We're a good bit up from that. No? Okay, maybe a bit. Did we move from there? Okay, earlier we were like right next to the 109. I haven't been to Japan. You know? So I might not be the expert. I just feel like I'm being flexed on now. I want to go to Tokyo too! I want to go to Japan! I want to see Shibuya! This is so fucked up. Get in line next time, I'll get you one as well. Do I also have to queue for 2 hours to get the burger? Because then I don't know if I care that much. She only cared about herself. She had absolutely no idea how much the things she was doing were hurting me. I was sure of that. If I could have, I would have snapped the phone in half and thrown it in the nearest garbage can. It wasn't my money, for one thing. But if I did that, Nanami would come back, with my parents in tow this time, and they would just tell me I had to buy another one since the first one broke. Just tell me what you want. I want the limited KFC burger that was, whiskey barbecue grander. They don't make that one anymore. Bring that for me. Every day I mourn the fact that KFC no longer makes that one. It restrained my impulse to destroy the thing. Time to just go home and play some ESO. The stress had really been building up over these past few days. I hoped my peaceful daily life would come back soon. You want nothing? Wow, so you want me to starve? Another bizarre murder had taken place that night. The fourth new-gen murder. I was playing ESO when Grim, as usual, came to tell me. Yo, Grim. You're late tonight. Those eyes are those. What? Why is a Grim saying that? Is it like a reference to the murder? Did something in a murder had that sentence? Or like, how does he know? What did he say? He said, whose eyes are those? Which is something that the MC has been saying for most of his life whenever he feels like someone is watching him, right? For a moment, I couldn't believe my eyes. How did Grim know those words? My fingers were shaking on the keyboard. I didn't know what to say. It was all I could do to keep my eyes on the monitor as he typed. The fourth new-gen murder happened. I've been watching the festival. Shibuya's going nuts, man. This was the craziest of the lot. All the blood was drained from the victim's corpse. They found the body and... Am I not allowed to read? Cause like I wasn't clicking, it was just scrolling on its own. We can't right click either. Backlog? Oh, there we go. I have to go into backlog. All the blood was drained from the victim's corpse. They found the body in the Inokashira Line station's toilets. And what happened to the body is just messed up. All its skin turned green. Scary, super scary. I'm starting to believe the guy who says something occult is going on are right. No human could have done that. All its skin turned green. We had a delusion before where where we saw someone's skin in green, right? Bit my lip in front of the computer. I came close to imagining it in my mind, but I managed to shake off the delusion. I took a sip of soda to calm myself down. Damn that Grim. He was deliberately trying to ambush me. I knew it. Huh? No reaction? How do you know so much about it? You're talking like you actually saw it. Well, I did, basically. You still don't care, Van, about New Gen? I'd rather spend my free time grinding in ESO than reading up on New Gen. That's her lightning fast Nightheart, who is not allowed to read. He grinds like no mere mortal man can. Our inspiration. Our idol. I don't want to talk about New Gen, so I try to change the subject as soon as possible. Anyway, check this out. Well, I feel like I'm gonna get trolled. Last time this had happened, he had trolled me with what he had said was a Guru image and it turned out to be something stupid he had drawn. It was entirely possible he would do the opposite this time. Wait, you seriously don't know? Know what? Are you actually just that far behind everybody else? Shut up. So, what is it? What if I told you your beloved Seiratan was involved? Really? Then I have to look at it! What? Well, it looked like some kind of auction site. It probably wasn't a mental browser crash or anything like that, right? Oh, no, I meant tips. A browser crash, an image, web page, etc. that crashes the user's browser. Some of these can place extreme stress into the browser program or cause the system itself to behave in unexpected ways. In the mid-2000s, it was common to paste these into anonymous message boards and attempt to lure unwary users. The worst of them could even damage a user's computer. A mental browser crash is an image which causes severe psychological distress to the viewer. These images, however, do no harm to the PC itself. I've never heard of a mental browser crash. Is that a Japanese term? Or am I just too young to know of that term? I clicked on the link, a little excited. It's the shortage of type B blood that, like, we saw. We got, like, a flyer, like, with tissues with it. There's a shortage of type B blood? What was this flyer? I had seen it somewhere. Deja vu again. It's not deja vu if you actually have seen it. Anyway, where was this pic of Seiratan? I scrolled the mouse wheel to go down the page. Ah! Sorry, I got scared too. Seiratan looks different. What do you mean there's a shortage of type B blood? Just clean that up. And I was suddenly met with what was clearly a Guro image. I quickly looked back toward the left monitor and closed the browser. The Guro image had only been on my monitor for 3 seconds. I had only really gotten a solid look at it for less than a second. But still. It's a pic of the 4th new gen body. It was put up on the auction size before the media... I'll wait. It's okay. I'll wait. Oh my god. It was put up on an auction site before the media had reported on the murder. You could buy the victim's brutally murdered corpse, lol. In other words, the one who posted it has to be the Nugent killer. Crazy, huh? Your username for the auction was vampire, or... I mean, it's obviously a throwaway username, though. But the whole internet's going nuts. It's getting pasted to all kinds of different message boards. They're making memes of it, too. The meme craftsmen are right on top of it. And there's a dying message in it, too. In the image. I don't know why sometimes, like, the right click doesn't work, like, 90% of the time. A dying message. A dying message. On a wall, written in the victim's blood. I didn't realize that stuff was real. Maybe the killer is just doing it for the lulz. Hello? Mr. Neidhart? Did you freeze on me? I'd only gotten to see the picture for a second. But still...
ゲームだ。こんな世界は虚構のゲームの世界に違いないんだ。
The image of those red letters sloppily painted on the wall was burned into my brain. I tried not to think about it, but each of them came into my mind in turn, as if accusing me.
なんであの言葉が
Oh, it said whose eyes are those in the blood, right? I knew those words well. I said those words often. They were a question I would ask no one in particular, and Grimm had said them to me when I had logged into ESO. Each of the words was common by itself, but no one else used them the way I did. Where I am, Shibuya is a city that never sleeps, but at this hour there were few people at Scramble Crossing in front of the station. Instead, the square was filled with taxis, there to ferry home drunks who couldn't wait for their first train. Most of the taxi drivers had their seats pulled back so they could nap. A few of them, though, took their jobs more seriously. They leaned forward on the wheel and watched the 107 building in Center Street. But tonight, they weren't watching for potential customers. They were watching with interest a cleaning crew that had appeared about half an hour earlier. How did I know it was a cleaning crew? Because each of the men wore a yellow armband with the words cleaning crew on it. No way. Otherwise, no one would have ever associated them with the term. The men were wearing black suits, and the whole time they had been here, they showed no signs of starting to clean anything. One of the men held a strange measuring device that looked like some kind of pendulum, and others were around him, using it to take readings of some kind. They weren't staying in one place either. They were going all around Scramble Crossing and taking measurements they would then write onto a piece of paper. Right now, they were directly under a traffic light, silently watching the pendulum device. It made a sound.
地点 L2 の8、0.62 メガ GE、ハイスコアです。
先月より38ポイントもアップか。 思った通りだ。
But no one in Shibuya that night was watching the cleaning crew that closely, though. As soon as a passenger climbed into a cab, its driver quickly forgot about the cleaners. And most of the drunks had already passed out and were in no position to look at what was going on around them. The cabaret girls and prostitutes, finally free of the stress that came with smiling at nasty drunks for hours, were getting into taxis to quickly return home. And so, no one realized that the government had not announced any plans to clean Scramble Crossing that night. Even after the weekend ended, the furore over the fourth New Generation Madness case, the Vampire, showed no signs of slowing down. The corpse of a man drained completely of blood, his skin turning and sickly and human and green. It was found in a toilet on the Shibuya Inokashira line. Not only that, a photo of the corpse was put up on an online auction site at about the same time the corpse was found. The bizarre, cruel nature of the murder meant the media and @channel were sure to leap on it. The message on the auction page had also attracted a lot of attention. There's a shortage of type B blood. Large numbers of tissue packets advertising blood donations that exact same text had been handed out in Shibuya. I had a packet of them with me right now. Thinking back, the strange text wasn't an ad for blood donations at all. It was an announcement predicting the next murder. The cops were looking for the part-timers that had been handing them out, but nobody could find much of anything in the way of clues. There was something very different about Vampire compared to the previous cases. There had been signs of it during the Crucified case, but this latest murder really felt like a theatrical crime, a spectacle meant for public consumption. Some pundits were suggesting things like bringing more cops into Shibuya or establishing a curfew for anybody under a certain age. But the number of young people visiting the city showed no sign of going down. Scramble Crossing and Center Street were as packed as ever. The net was in an uproar. Several snakes or internet detectives were going around Shibuya and giving live reports on what they saw, and a popular new phrase was spreading among the youth of the city. Whose eyes are those? It was spreading not just online, but among the documents who walked around the streets of Shibuya. On @chan, people were putting the phrase at the end of messages that had nothing to do with New Gen. This week's Blood Tune didn't have enough Seiratan. Whose eyes are those? The new weapons they added in the latest patch are kind of shit. Whose eyes are those? What kind of whose eyes are those is that? Like that. New Gen was nothing but a source of fun for the youth of the city, but to me, it was an absolute nightmare. That said, 3 days after the Vampire incident, I had started to calm down. Of course, it was still in the back of my mind, but a solid weekend of ESO had helped me forget all the awful and unexplainable things that had happened. Today was a school day, and I'd even managed to make it through the day's classes by sleeping or thinking of rare ESO items. I had grown up a little. And so, like always, I headed to @cafe after school ended. I was happy to see that my designated spot, room 37, was open. It had been 2 weeks since the last time I had come here. It was the first time there had ever been such a long gap. The musty smell of the breeze coming from the air conditioner, the stench of the cigarette smoke clinging to the manga, the pleasant feeling of the reclining seats, and the silence, punctuated by the snoring of middle-aged men. It felt so good to be back.
ルーム37の PC のチャットログを調べさせてもらいました。
I've been reading so much, I need water.
「そこから分かったことは、あなた一人の自作自演。将軍は、あなた自身。
I hadn't seen Yua since then. We were in different grades and I didn't go to school that often in the first place. So of course, we wouldn't run into each other that often, but...
ユアの妄想はすごいよ。
Quick stretch, okay. Oh! Oh, wait, my cable got stuck, okay. Oh! Mm. I really hope it's not gonna be a dumb DID plotline where all the characters are just him. Yeah, I mean, I have no clue, right? I'm walking to the spoiler free. I don't know what to expect. I can hear the cracks. You're welcome. Oh. I felt so bad for her. She must have a terrible mental disorder. It was best to just ignore people like that. Things with Yua had just been a disaster from the start. For the past 2 weeks, I had been dragged into one mess after another. Until then, my life had been incredibly peaceful. The only person who talked to me was Misumi. Why was all this bizarre stuff happening to me lately? Ah! I don't even want to think about any of it. The dying message was just a coincidence, I decided. I mean, they were all really common words. If somebody with a brain like mine could come up with them, anybody could. I didn't care who that message was meant to reach. No, that wasn't it. I couldn't let myself care. I suddenly heard a noise nearby. I shuddered in my reclining seat, shocked. It was the sound of a phone ringing. But whose? Whose rings are those? The place was silent, so the ringing sounded really loud. I looked around, but I couldn't even see a phone.
もしかして
I suddenly had an idea and looked inside my bag. Just like I thought, it was the phone I had bought several days ago. Trembling, I looked at the screen. Phones were supposed to show the number of whoever was calling you, right? Should I pick up? But I didn't really like talking to people. Who was calling me, anyway? I hadn't given this number to anybody. The only ones who knew it were Nanami and the rest of my family. She had put their names in my contacts too, even though I hadn't asked her to. If the number dialing me was one registered in my contacts, it should display the name instead, which meant it wasn't my family. So, who could it be? The phone kept ringing. Were people always this persistent when they called your cell phone? I had never used one before, so I didn't know for sure, but it was really annoying. They were just barging to my private space and ringing my phone until I answered. That was a violation of my privacy, wasn't it? That's why I never wanted a phone to begin with. Oh, it stopped. Relieved, I looked at the phone's liquid crystal screen. 1 missed call, it read. I didn't know who had called, but I certainly didn't feel like calling back. So I decided to just ignore it. I should learn how to set up voicemail so this didn't happen again. Cell phones were such a pain. I didn't like phones anyway. I mean, they were really weird. How was anybody ever sure that the person they were talking to was really who they said they were? There were a lot of phone scams out there, right? Do people just not bother to check? I just couldn't understand how somebody could talk to someone else when they weren't even sure they were real. I understood the physics principles that let you talk to somebody far away via a phone, but I still found it hard to believe. When you talked on the phone, your voice was turned into an electronic signal. The signal was transmitted down a wire to the person on the other end, and then turned back into a voice so they could be heard. In other words, if you wanted to talk to somebody on the phone, your voice needed to be transformed a minimum of 2 times. For a cell phone, first the electrical signals created from your voice were sent to a nearby cell tower, then transferred to a switching center via normal telephone lines. From there, they were sent to the tower nearest to the person you were talking to, and then sent via electromagnetic waves to their cell phones. It was an incredibly complicated and bizarre process. If my voice was being transformed to electrical signals, could the person I was talking to really hear every single thing as I was saying, exactly the way I said it? Wasn't there a chance that in the process of turning into an electrical signal, it could end up being turned into something else altogether? For instance, say I called Nanami. Instead of my voice being sent directly to her, it was sent to some weird building somewhere. And there, Somebody I had never met would pretend to be Nanami. Maybe I wasn't even talking to a person. I could be talking to a computer. That's why talking on a phone was so scary to me. It was scarier than even talking to someone in person. Hi, Robin! Welcome to the stream. How's your day going? Are you here to watch a very normal visual novel? I logged into ESO as Lizelot, and 3 hours passed quickly. It had been 2 weeks since I had logged in as Lizelot, but today I was able to do a great job with the character and was really satisfied. I left for home in a great mood. Center Street was as loud and obnoxious as ever. I always hated it. And thanks to all the store's lights, it was so bright that it didn't feel like nighttime at all. At the end of the well-lit street, I saw someone in a crowd and recognized them instantly. I froze. Your pronunciation of... How am I supposed to say it? Lizelot. German. Oh. I didn't realize it was German. So what, like, Lieselotte? Lotte? I just didn't know that it was supposed to be German, so I was going with a different accent. The girl was staring at me intently and ignoring the huge crowds around her. That is a huge sword. She's just walking around. She's just walking around Shibuya with this. In the middle of Center Street, where it's hard to even walk straight among the endless streams of people, she was standing stock still, holding a huge sword on her shoulder. It was a bizarre scene, but nobody seemed to notice her sword. They parted around her like water in a stream breaking against a rock, moving by without the slightest change in expression. It was the girl I had seen at the 107 building. She had been there when I had gone to buy a phone with Nanami. The shape of her sword, the sumi uniform, the long black hair, it all matched. This was the girl who had been watching the crowds from up on the stairs of the 107 building. And I remembered something else when I saw the intensity of her eyes as she looked at me. I had seen her once at school, too. Long, shiny black hair that extended down to her waist, oval eyes, a pretty but intimidating face. It was Girl B, the one who had so rudely asked, "Who are you?" in the hallway after school last week. Why was she glaring at me anyway? I turned around to see if anyone was there, just in case I was being self-conscious. I thought maybe there would be someone she knew behind me, but there wasn't. She was looking at me with something that bordered on outright hostility in her eyes. Yeah, it was me she was after. I flinched. This must be how a frog feels when a snake is bearing down on it. Thank you so much for the follow, Robin. Welcome to the galaxy. Hope you enjoy it here. There was no way I could glare back. It was hard for me to even meet her gaze. I had no choice but to look down. I should run away, I thought. Usually, I would take a left at the intersection where she was standing and head across the Bukfat. Bukfat? But today I'd go around the front of the station. There were a lot of people there, but it was still better than dealing with some scary 3D girl. She might be trying to mug me. It looked like Girl B was alone, but it was possible that she had a bunch of her docking buddies lying in wait and they were trying to lure me out and beat me up. What is the... Full Boko, short for full power Boko Boko, ass kicking, a violent, brutal, and one-sided assault. Thank you. Nice sparkly star now. Yes! You are now a sparkle. How does that feel? BookFat is probably a store. Yeah, but I'm trying to think, like, which real store it's referencing. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a sparkle. Hi, Tags! Welcome to the stream. What's up? Well, I wasn't going to fall for it. If I had $1 for every single time this dude was like, I'm not going to fall for these freedy, oh god, for these freedy girl plans. Do you know random bookstore chains in Japan? I mean, I don't know, like, so far, like, I understand some jokes, right, and some references. I think usually these sort of, like, bookstores and stuff, like, I know because, when you have, like, merchant stuff, they have, like, collabs with some of these stores, or they have, like, special bonuses, right? So, for example, I know Animate, and in this game they do Animate, but with, like, an 8, instead of, like, Animate, like, the normal verb. So those are, like, references that I do get. But BookFat? I'm not sure. Nomming on some food. Oh, I'm so jealous. Everyone's making me hungry today. I turned around and couldn't believe what I saw. Ah!
Huh?
It's kind of funny, though. For some reason, Girl B was there. I quickly turned around and looked at the intersection where she had been standing a moment ago. She wasn't there. I looked ahead of me again. She was still there, holding her sword and glaring at me. How about the credit card company renamed to Slave Card? MasterCard renamed to Slave Card was really fucking funny. When did she get in front of me? Nobody could be that fast. We practically have to teleport. How was she able to tell I'd turn around anyway?
Oi.
Her voice was shockingly clear. I desperately looked around. I wanted to believe that she was talking to someone else. I searched as hard as I could for that someone else she might have meant to address when she said hey. But of course, there wasn't anyone. The only people nearby were a group of salarymen. They looked towards her for a moment, but quickly realized she wasn't talking to them and kept moving. Suddenly she took a step towards me. That was all I needed to be fully sure. Girl B was after me.
お前
Oh!
見えるのか
No one else sees the sword. That's why they don't react. No one else can see it. Oh. I bet the, like, weird mic stand thing that he was talking about with Fess, I bet, like, the audience was also not able to see that either. I was terrified. No girl in my 17 years had ever been aggressive towards me. Tsubaki Kirimiya, known as Tsunko, could be really mean when she was in a tsundere mood, but not even when she was this bad. Also, she was a 2D character from an age game called Thermidor. Why are we bringing this up, though? Even as my brain was thinking about tsundere age games, Girl B was still getting closer. She was a girl. How could she be this intense and scary? I thought it was strange, but the reason was actually quite simple. The intensity of her eyes. That... and a huge sword she was carrying. It had an extremely unusual shape for a sword. In an anime, it would have looked really cool, but if you tried to use it in the real world, it would probably be completely useless. It had to be from a mecha anime or something. Were there any new mecha anime lately? I knew it was a cosplay prop, but it looked so sharp. So strong. Like the slightest touch could take your finger clean off. It was such a strange weapon.
見えるのかと聞いている
Girl B was within 2 meters of me now. If she swung that sword, it was sure to reach me. I quickly took a step back, but it was too late. She got even closer. Oh! And then she really swung it. Chat, reality? Positive delusion? Or negative delusion? Well, I drink a bit more water. Negative delusion off with his pee! That's insane. I'm positively confused. Aren't we all? Okay, we're gonna see if he actually gets his penis cut off in the negative delusion. Because now I'm intrigued. I crouched to the ground with my head in my hands. If I hadn't dodged, it would have hit me right in the head. It probably wouldn't have actually cut me, but with that speed, it could have given me a concussion or caved my skull in. Please don't hurt me! I was so freaked out I could barely speak. Ooh, we get a CG.
お前、私が見えているんだろ。
Oh, it's not just the sword, but her? Her, like, her as well?
はい。
Did she just ask if I could see her? By her, she meant herself, right? Girl B, the one standing in front of me? Suddenly, her face took on a look of sadness and she knelt down before me. She was now at my eye level, and her gaze seemed like it was pleading with me.
私、誰にも見つけてもらえなくて。どれだけ声を出しても、誰にも届かなくて。体はすり抜けちゃうし。寒いし。ほら、見て。私、足も透けちゃって。自分に何が起きたのか、さっぱりわからなくて。もう何年も何十年もこの場所をさまよっていたような気がする。
Was she a ghost? Impossible. I didn't have any kind of sixth sense.
ずっと探してた。私を見つけてくれる人、ありがとう。ありがとう。お礼に。お前に取り付いてやる。
There's the negative delusion.
答えろ。見えるんだな。ディソード。
Reuse CG. Call him out! Okay, but this game has a shitload of CGs, so like they can reuse some. They have like hundreds. I came back to my senses and looked back up at the face of Girl B. She wasn't crying. Her legs weren't transparent. Her hands were normal hands. Oh, just a delusion. But a D-sword? What was that? I had never heard that word before. It was clear she was referring to a strange sword-like object in her hand. But why did she want to know if I could see it? I decided to nod. Of course I could see it. How could I not? It was huge, and she was holding it in the middle of Century Street. I mean, maybe in Akihabara I wouldn't have noticed it, but Shibuya was an anime town. I call it a digital sword. Oh, I thought it was D like 2, because there's 2 blades. So like a dual sword.
お前も集められたんだな。
Gathered? Who was gathered? And by who? I was here of my own free will. Oh, I was here of my own free will, at least.
エラを見たことがあるか？
Please to speak Japanese, K-Fang. Please to speak. Used to teach someone who say things you can understand and tell them to speak more clearly. Thank you. Was what I wanted to say, but I didn't have the courage. If I said the wrong thing, she would probably stab me. I didn't have any idea what she was talking about, anyway.
見たら教えろ。
She turned away after she said that. Her skirts flew up as she turned, and I almost saw her panties. Why do we need that? Why do we need to know that detail? Why is that sentence there? I quickly closed my eyes.
私は3年の青い瀬名。駅前の電車にいる。
I opened my eyes, and the girl who had called herself Senna was no longer there. What's the opposite of Fujoshi? Did I have a feeling the MC is one? In what way do you mean an opposite of a Fujoshi? Like what is the opposite of a Fujoshi? Can you describe it? I stood there in complete confusion, and it was only after I got back to the base that I realized I hadn't understood a single thing she had said. Of all the weeks I have to go to school 3 times, what a depressing day. I heard a strange cry a few meters away from me. It was so sudden, my body jerked in surprise. I looked toward the source of the noise, and...
Oni!
Nanami ran over to me at incredible speed. I tried to escape, but it was too late. She got in front of me, blocking me in. She'd always been really athletic. Like Fujoshi, instead of men, it's women. Okay, but you have to understand, Fujoshi is not about being obsessed with men. It's about being obsessed with men having sex with other men, right? So if it's Fujoshi but for women, it would be someone who is into Yuri, not just women. I'm just shaking. I think the word you're looking for here is going to be heterosexual. Because you're obnoxious, obviously.
あ、そうやってすぐ黙るし。
Really? Why did my sister decide to go to Suimei Academy of all the places she could have gone? It was a huge pain from my perspective. Whenever I saw her at school, she would come over and annoy me.
ねえねえ、携帯どう？使ってる？使ってないでしょ。買ってからもう何日か経ってるけど、一度も家にかけてこないもんね。
I tried to walk fast to shake her off, but she followed me, refusing to give up.
家に生存報告の電話ぐらいしなよ。そのために買ったんだから。どうしても嫌なら、ナナの携帯にかけるだけでもいいからさ。お母さん、心配してるんだからね。そもそも、ちゃんとご飯食べてんの？どうせコンビニ弁当ばっかなんでしょ？やっぱお兄に一人暮らしは無理なんだよ。家に帰ってきなよ。ナナがどんな気持ちでお兄の様子見に行ってるか分かってる？いつも 心配でしょうがないんだからね。
Shut up. What is your problem? Are you my mom? Why do you have to talk about this in the middle of the street anyway? I'm already in a bad mood and you're just making it worse. It's incredibly embarrassing to have to go to school with your younger sister next to you. Sure, it happened a lot in age games. In fact, I loved it when it happened in age games, but Nanami wasn't nearly as good as a 2D girl. Somebody give me a cuter little sister. Nanami and I walked toward the school side by side, a bad mood simmering between us. I looked over at her, hoping I could get a chance to escape before we reached the school gate. She had been so mad a moment ago, and now she was quiet and seemed kind of out of it. Her eyes looked like they were drifting out of focus. Or was that my imagination? Her footsteps were unsteady. Just as I realized something was wrong, she stepped out into the road. A car was coming right in front of her. I grabbed her and pulled her close. The car drove past, its horn blaring. She had narrowly avoided being run over.
お前、何やってんだ。
あ、あれ？
Huh? Is her brain already fried from the damn cell phone? She seemed confused. Her eyes were blinking rapidly.
ナナ、今なんであんなこと？あれ？
Was she a total moron? Why didn't she know what she had just done? Just to clear, this wasn't Moe at all. Not Moe in the slightest. What are you doing?
何やってるんだよ。車にひかれたいのか。
車なんて来てた？
Of course there was. Was she going senile on me?
ねえお兄、今ヒュンヒュンヒュンっていう音聞こえなかった？
Huh? What was she talking about? I hadn't heard anything at all.
その音聞いてたらね、なんだかぼんやりした感覚になって。で、あそこに
Nanami pointed to the corner.
お父さんとお母さんが立ってて、ナナを呼んでたの。
We're just going crazy now, huh? I looked where Nanami pointed. It wasn't my parents there, just some creepy guy. He wore a checkered shirt, fingerless gloves, jeans with the legs rolled up, and white sneakers. The backpack he also wore was stuffed full. He looked like any otaku you would see in Akihabara. And he even had a video camera in his hand. Maybe he was some kind of peeping Tom.
おい、他人を指さすな。
What a rude little sister she was. Why would our parents be here anyway? Our home was in Shimokitazawa.
おかしいな。確かに呼ばれたのに。
The man looked at us. He was pointing his camera at me and Nanami. Ew, what was his problem?
行くぞ、ナナミ。
I got scared and ran away, leaving my sister behind.
あ、お兄、ちょっと待ってよ。
I managed to ignore Nanami until we got to the school, then headed down the bustling hallway toward my own class. When I walked down the hall, I always walked on the side. I'd always make sure to go at the proper speed, not too fast and not too slow. I would make sure to keep my head down so I didn't meet anybody's gaze. These were my free rules. I needed to be like the air, invisible, if I didn't want to stand out. That was my way of surviving in this world.
Yo, Taku.
Once again, however, someone appeared who would make doing so impossible. Misumi ran up to me from behind and, as always, gave me a too friendly slap on the shoulder.
おいっす。挨拶ぐらいしろって。ま、お前がそういうやつだってのは分かってるけどよ。なあ、この前 D 組の女子の話したよな。めったに学校来ねえけど、すげえ可愛い女子がいるって。 その子岸本綾瀬って名前なんだけどよ。実はその岸本に関してすげえ発見したんだ。
He suddenly lowered his voice and looked around to make sure nobody was listening. He was probably about to say something dirty again. I felt vaguely sick and was ready to let out a huge sigh.
フェスいるだろ。フェス。
But when I heard what he said, I gasped.
その岸本ってのがフェスなんだよ。俺マジビビったぜ。まさかフェスがうちの学校の生徒だなんてよ。しかも俺らとタメだってことだぜ。
For some reason, he decided to lean out a nearby window and look up at the sky with an expression of joy.
運命ってきっとこういうことを言うんだな。
We were on the third floor. If he slipped and fell, he would snap his neck and die. I felt tense just watching him. He leaned forward even further and looked down at the entrance to the school.
お、噂をすればなんとやらだタク。岸本を発見した。もうすぐここに来るぜ。
え？
Huh? That was a crazy coincidence. Maybe there was some kind of fated connection between them, like he said. Not that I cared.
よし、待ち構えてやる。見てろタク。俺のナンパ術ってのを見せてやるよ。
There was a note of total confidence in his voice. It must be nice to be attractive. Picking up girls was a foreign world to me. Not that it was one I had any interest in. A minute or so later, Fess, wait, her real name was Ayasa Kishimoto, right? Appeared. Misumi was right. It was clearly her. I stood back, a good distance away, and looked at her carefully. It was a shock to see that she was the same age as me. Oh, ad break. Oh. I'll use this moment to stretch. Oh. Oh, that was I like cracked somewhere in, like the back of my back. Somewhere in my back it like cracked. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. I'm getting kind of eepy. I'm so eepy, so tired. Eepy Tommy. Real Granblue grind begins in 3 hours. I am not gonna sleep tonight, huh? Why does this world keep such an epitome from their rightful place in the bed? So true! So true. The world is unfair. It's still like not too late. Poor Tommy got drained by work. Poor Tommy has to go to work. Wee! Wee! Thank you for the pad I needed in this particular moment. Fast was wearing her Suima uniform and walking slowly with a look of ennui on her face. Are we gonna use ennui every single time she appears? The author found one fancy word and we're gonna have to hear it every single scene? She looked like a completely different person than the way she had been on stage. When she was singing, there had been a sense of power and emotion in her voice. even when she was speaking softly. But now she just looked kind of sad and unapproachable. Misumi must have seen it and decided to deliberately ignore it, because he walked right up to her side with the same over-friendly attitude he always used with me.
Yo, Kishimoto-san. Oh, hayo.
Wow, what a brilliant but completely fake smile. How could you act that way with somebody you had never met before? He was an inspiration, an idol, but not someone I wanted to copy, not in the slightest.
俺、三角大輔。よろしく。おっと、初対面とか思ってるだろう。でも違うんだな、これが。俺さ、こないだ、ファンタズムのライブ行ったんだよね。だから、君に会うのは2度目。
He's just calling her out like that, not even trying to be subtle about it.
で、その時君の歌声に、こう。
She's gonna try to play it off like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
できちゃったんだ。別に俺ミーハーとかじゃねえよ。聞かれたのはさ、詩とか君の可愛さとかそういうところもあるけど、でも何より一番すげえって思ったのはやっぱバンドとしての完成度っつうか、あの音あっての君の歌声っつうの。ちなみに俺も実はバンドやりたいなって思っててさ、よかったらああいういいバンドメンバーを見つけるコツとか、バンドの先輩としての心得みたいなもの教えてくんねえかな。
The glazing is unreal.
あ、今すぐじゃ迷惑
Oh
だ
my
ろうから。
god, he's yapping still.
放課後とか暇？どっかで二人きりでじっくり話さない？
Misumi kept talking and talking. The way he spoke was different than usual, and his voice was louder and more cheerful. And he wasn't directly hitting on her either. He was talking about her band as an excuse to go out with her. I had never heard anything about Misumi wanting to start a band. It had to be a lie. I understood now. He wasn't just hoping the two of them had something in common. He was setting it up so that they would. But Faz didn't even look at him. Okay, chat. Reality? Positive delusion? Negative delusion? Give this dude a reality check. She walked right down the hallway as if she didn't hear anything at all. Damn, that is ruthless.
なあ、聞いてる？
Fess suddenly stopped. She looked up, ever so slightly and slowly, and looked right at me. Huh? Me? I remember how it felt like Fess was looking at me at the concert. Over the last 2 weeks, a lot of pretty girls have been staring at me. What was going on with that? Had I suddenly gotten really attractive? I looked away, of course, so my gaze only met hers for a second.
見つけて早く剣を
Fess suddenly spoke. Her words were cold and soft. I couldn't tell if they were directed to me or Misumi.
剣って？
そうすれば君は救われるわ
Fess looked down without waiting for an answer and began to walk once more. She went past us and into Class D's classroom. Both me and Misumi watched her go, confused.
なあ、タグ。
I could tell he was in a bad mood. Despite all his best efforts, Fess had completely ignored him. Having someone refuse to even acknowledge you exist must be pretty painful. I was used to that now.
俺はここまでプライドをズタズタにされたのは初めてだ。自信なくすぜ。くそ。ちょっと有名人だからって調子乗りやがって。あんな不愛想な女、もう二度と相手にしてやるもんかよ。あー、うぜえ。だいたい何が剣を見つけろだ。わけわかんねえ。
The sword. Did she mean that thing at the concert, the one that looked like a mic stand? Come to think of it, just 2 days ago, somebody else had asked me about a sword. The girl named Senna. She was really scary. I thought she might actually kill me. That sword she had been holding was shaped differently, but was similar to the one that Fess had at the concert. Was there some kind of connection between the two? I didn't understand. There was far too much I didn't understand. Shogun, the demon girl, Yua, Fess, Senna, the swords. Like always, whenever I didn't understand something, I made a little list inside my head. I thought about adding myself to the bottom of the list, but stopped. I was just fine. It was everything else around me that was weird. Yeah, I was just fine. Was Fess on my side, or was she my enemy? That was all I needed to know, but I didn't have the courage to talk to her. Today I went to animate instead of going to a cafe. This character right here... Okay, first of all, at first I looked at this on the side and I thought that was the ass. It's very weirdly drawn, and I thought that was like the waist and this was the ass. Second of all, this makes me think of the like loser versus Chad meme. Is that exact same position? The collar is not doing any favors. Yeah, it is kind of just weirdly drawn here. Why? To get my long-awaited Bloodtune Satan post-awakening version figure. When I bought it, I saw an image of Yua's face in my mind for just a second, but I quickly shut down that line of thought. There was a Satan display at the store, and the figure they had out for show was every bit the quality work I would come to expect from his designer, Yoshio Kijima. Time to head home and stare at every inch of her body. All I had to do to be happy was play ESO and stare at Seiratan once in a while. So why were these 3D people bringing all their problems to me? Why did this keep happening? As I forgot all about Fess and the swords and was happily returning to the base, I ran into a pair of men who looked out of place, just 50 meters or so from home. I tried to avert my gaze and avoid them, but one of them was clearly looking directly at me.
そこの君、ちょっといいかい?
A pair of men? Is this yaoi? The man who spoke to me first was an unimpressive-looking middle-aged man, the kind you might see at a betting track. His hair was a mess and he had stubble on his chin. His suit was tattered and his necktie wasn't tied right. His leather shoes showed no sign of ever being cleaned, and he just looked like an overall loser. For some reason, he was waving a cheap 100 yen paper fan at himself, which only added to the impression that he was one of life's losers. He had a dopey look on his face too, a really stupid-looking grin. But when I met his gaze for a second, I saw no traces of that stupid grin reflected in them. There was nowhere to run. As I stood there, unsure of whether or not to answer, the two of them walked over to me.
おじさん、こういうものなんだけどさ。
He took out a black notebook with an ID on the flap and showed it to me. It was a police notebook, like you saw on TV shows. They had finally come for me. There was only one reason I could think of. The crucified killing.
ちょっと話を聞かせてもらっていいかい? もちろん強制じゃないんだけどね。あ、そんな身構えなくていいよ。本当話聞くだけだから。
That's what they all say. Run, MC, run! There was absolutely no pressure in his voice, but the other detective with him, the younger one, had a stern look on his face and had quietly moved to block my path. I started to sweat. If I said the wrong thing here, they might think I was the killer and arrest me. Please, no. I gave up on running and nodded very slightly.
君さ、俗に言うニュージェネレーションの狂気って知ってるかな?
I knew it. I wiped the sweat off my brow and nodded.
じゃあ3番目に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件も当然知ってるよね。この近所で起きたわけなんだけども、その目撃者を探してるわけよ。あ、ちなみに君、名前聞かせてくれる？
I gulped. Was this whole thing a Kome's trap? Maybe they were just pretending to be police, trying to get me to reveal my private information so they could use it for something bad. Or maybe they were working with the demon girl.
あれ、答えてくんないのかな？
There was no way to be sure either way. What should I do? If I gave them a fake name, they might arrest me.
ああ、個人情報保護法とか気にしてる？おじさんそんなに信用なさそうに見えるかな？
You do. Follow the streamer dream? I'm trying! Trying every day! Hi Rubix, welcome to the stream. How's it going? That friendly way you're talking to me is just an act, right?
西條匠
My name is I won't talk about my lawyer presence. So real! In the end, I couldn't come up with any brilliant plans to talk my way out of this, so I decided to just tell the truth.
西條匠くんでいいかい？
I nodded.
本当に？
Why do you not believe me? Huh? What the hell does that mean? I was nice enough to give you my real name. Why are you reacting like that?
いや、これは失礼。今のは気にしないでくれ。
His laugh was a little too loud to be real. It echoed throughout the quiet street. I want to go home.
その制服、水明だよね。何年生？
Did I have to tell him that too?
に
悪いね。聞き取れなかった。おじさんもう年だから耳遠くてさ。
Why is he
もう
so
一度言ってく
weird?
れる？
2年生
ああ、2年生ね。どうも。で、西條さん。聞きたいことってのは、先月の29日の午後6時から10時頃にかけて、どこで何してたかなんだわ。
Was this one of those alibi things? Did they suspect I had done it? No way! I'm from the there's no lawyer presence school in the I'm exercising my right to be silent here.
いや、別に君を疑ってるわけじゃなくてさ、その時間にこの近くにいたなら怪しい人物を見かけたとか、何か音を聞いたとか。
That's what they always say!
でね。
The way he talked was starting to really make me mad. Maybe it was some kind of special technique he used to anger the people he was talking to. But I had seen someone suspicious. I had gotten a clear look at them. I wasn't sure if it was safe to tell him, though. What if I did and the demon girl came after me? For now, she seemed to be leaving me alone. But she had Shogun with her, and he could see the future. She must have all kinds of crazy powers herself. It was the only explanation. If I told the police about the demon girl, she might find out about her clairvoyant powers. And then, she might come to kill me.
なあ、西條君。今日はそんなに暑いか？
My pulse quickened. If I didn't answer, they were sure to think I was a criminal. But it felt like if I said I hadn't seen anything, they would see right through me. The man waved his fan at me. Cool air ruffled my hair.
もうすっかり秋だ。汗かくほど暑いとは思えんけどな。まあ、体質ってのは人それぞれだしな。
No way, we're getting cold out like that. Oh, you're sweating, huh? It was strange to hear that from a man who carried a fan around, but he was right. It wasn't that hot today. It was a pleasant temperature, if anything. I wiped away the sweat from my brow with my sleeve.
僕はやってない。
おお。
His eyes changed. I knew I had screwed up. But I didn't know how.
何をやっていないんだ
He suspected me. I had to tell him. I stared at the cover of the manhole near my feet as I yelled.
見たんです。貼り付けの現場、そこに女がいたんです。で、血まみれにして死体の前に杭がたくさん死体に突き刺さってて、あれ500本は絶対超えてた。異常だ。死体がハリネズミみたいになってて、女は僕を見てよかったって笑ってた。あの女は悪魔だ。人間じゃない。ニュージェネの母には人を超えた存在なんだ。ヨシとかすごい超能力とか使う。
Okay, he's like really panic ranting now. Only then did I realize that the two detectives were looking at me with their mouths wide open in shock. Those don't look wide open to me, but what do I know? Maybe they didn't believe me. I fell silent again.
悪魔か。なるほどね。そいつは参考になったよ。
That's really funny. That's a really funny response. A demon, huh? Yeah, that's really solid evidence. Thank you.
本当です。
No! No!
ああ、分かってる分かってる。貴重な情報だよ。
僕を警察で守ってください。
その前にその女の年は分かる。服装とか顔の特徴とか。
水明。
水明って水明学園？
その制服着てた。
つまり西条君と同じ学校の生徒か。
He thought for a moment and then grinned. It was hard to tell if his next words were a question or a whisper.
何年生だろうな、その女子高生は。何年生だと思う？西条君。
わからない。
じゃあなんて名前だと思う？
What do you mean, what do you think her name is? You want me to guess a name? What kind of question is that? Like asking like, oh, do you know her? Would make sense, but what do you think her name is? I don't know, man. You know, to me, I think she looks like a Yui. Yeah. Totally a Yui kind of character. Yeah, I wouldn't say that was like a... I don't think it was a meal. No, not really. No, I'm really firm on like she was like Yui looking.
わからないよ。僕はあの悪魔の名前なんて知らない。
その女の身長、体重、あとついでに3サイズについては。
I feel like this also makes it worse in English because he's saying like free size, which is like the free sizes of like bust, under bust, waist, which is not as weird as asking for underwear measurements. As for her free size on the underwear, well, no, but search yacht. The free sizes do, in fact, mean the measurements for your bra and for your panties, since it's bust, under bust, and hips. So it's technically not incorrect, it's just a bit of a weird wording choice on the translator's part. Who was this guy? Was he making fun of me? How the hell would I know any of that? I don't have the magic power of determining a girl's measurements just by looking at her like the hero of some harem manga. I'm surprised harem is not highlighted as like a tip.
なるほど。黙ってるってことはわからないってことだね。結構。参考になったよ。これは本部に戻って検討しないといかんな。
He actually thinks we're crazy. He thinks we're just mentally ill. This was great.
先輩マジっすか？
The older detective made a motion with his hand to silence the younger one and then shot him a meaningful glance.
西条君、ちなみに連絡先とか教えてもらえる？
なんで
They didn't believe me after all. They thought I was crazy. They were going to accuse me of doing it.
ああ、だって悪魔だっけ？そいつから君を守らなくちゃならないだろ？
Oh, I see. Good. They believed me. I'd feel so much better if the police were protecting me. Of course, maybe even the police couldn't do anything about a demon. But it was better than being all alone. Feeling a little relieved, I took out my new phone and showed the detectives the number. The younger one copied it down.
いや、忙しいところありがとうさ。君の身の安全は警察が保証するから、何の心配もしなさんな。
And the police would never lie to you.
じゃあ、また何か聞きたいことができたら電話するかもしんないんで、その時はよろしくね。イルスとか使わないでくれよ。今のところ警察にとっては君は重要な人物だからな。
え？
君の目撃証言は事件解決の重要な手がかりになりそうだ。じゃあな。
The two of them bowed and quickly left. The younger one was looking back at me and whispering something to his partner. The older one was walking quickly and ignoring him. I let out a deep sigh. Wow, that was nerve-wracking. I had never been interrogated by a real police officer. It was pretty scary, but they seemed to believe me. Maybe. I hoped the police would catch the demon woman. But everybody said the police were incompetent, right? So I shouldn't get my hopes up too much. Only then did I notice how thirsty I was, so I bought a bottle of soda from a nearby vending machine.
うわ、覚醒バージョン残すエロすぎパンモノじゃんか。だがそれがいい。顔かわいいよ顔。原作再現度はいまいちだけど、プンプンと漂うエロスが木島義雄らしさだよな。これはこれでグッジョブ。
Good job.
上着キャストオフとか、この角度からじゃほとんど全裸にしか見えんよ。
Bro was excited.
髪の動きがいいよな。覚醒バージョンは髪が命って持論があるわけだが、間違ってなかったな。さて、それではお待ちかね、パンツいってみようか。どれどれ。V ゾーンの作り込みいいよ。シワのつき方リアルだしって。これスージーさんすげえ。マジですげえ。クオリティ高すぎ。
I actually don't know what Takasugi means. Japanese internet expression meaning too high. This particular expression is a complicated kanji pun of the type that was popular on internet message boards in the mid-2000s. It has long since fallen out of fashion, however, and attempts to use it in modern-day Japan would likely be met with bewilderment. I like how they were just kind of like, it's a complicated kanji pun, and decided to not go in deeper in that topic. I'm gonna look it up. I'm trying to look it up, and all I see is just Takasugi from Gintama. Like, I even looked up, like, Takasugi slang, and it didn't help. So, I don't think I'm finding out exactly how it works.
これセーラタン5作目にして早くも最高傑作爆誕じゃねえ。これ以上すごいのなんて出せないってマジで。やっぱ木島は神。
I carefully placed my new Seiratan next to the PC monitor. Sarah, you're so sexy. Just looking at her made me grin. This was a moment of pure joy. I logged into Atchen to share my thoughts on the Seiratan figure. When that was done, I checked my email and looked at Frepara to see if I had any new friend requests.
おっと、マイフレ申請来てるじゃん。誰これ？セーラコミュの人か。はいはい、ゲイですよ。
And just when I was ready to log into ESO, I felt a prickling on the back of my neck. It was the same intense gaze that I always felt. Whose eyes are those? Damn it, not now. Okay. Positive delusion, reality, or negative delusion? I love asking chat and getting all possible answers. Do we get a 4th vote? Does someone want to be the decision maker? Delulu. Okay, but positive or negative Delulu? Positive Delulu? Okay. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. You're fine. When did I first start feeling that gaze? I had totally forgotten by now. But it kept getting in my way. A lot of things were happening that would interrupt my daily life. The gaze was right up there with Nanami for being obnoxious. Okay, time to play the game again. Time to play the I'm not turning around that easily game. I kept my eyes locked on my computer monitor and tried to think of a cool line.
貴様、出てこい。僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか。甘いな。
I find it really funny that even in his inner voice, when he's imagining this, he still sounds unsure. He's unable to even sound confident in his mind.
バレちゃった。
当たり前だ。僕の後ろに立つなと何度言え。
Of course, all this time we just imagined that Seiratan behind us. Oh my god. Huh? Did I just hear a girl's voice? I froze. Had the owner of the gaze finally shown themselves? Was that possible? Should I turn around and see who she was? But what if she attacked me as soon as I did? She sounded pretty cute, but what if she was a terrible monster? No, if she was a monster, she might be getting ready to attack me right now. If I didn't turn around, I could die before I even realized what was happening. Should I try saying something else to see if she answered? It could have just been a delusion, or maybe I had just been hearing things. You know, like how I always hear my Seiratan figure talking to me. Like that. Which is something very normal. Like that. I try to say, "Who the hell are you?" but I cut myself off. It wouldn't be smart to say anything to set them off, right? It might provoke them into attacking me. I was seeing so many awful things in my delusions that I couldn't move. What should I do? Maybe I was just being an idiot. If there was nobody there and I was just sitting in my chair, scared to death of my own delusions, I would look like the world's biggest moron.
あれ、タク？固まってる？
It wasn't a delusion. I wasn't hearing things. There was somebody behind me. Shocked, I turned around.
どうもどうも。
Oh, it's her. I guess I'm bad at recognizing voices. I thought it was Seda. It was the demon girl! It was the girl I had seen during Crucified. She was right there, sitting on my sofa. For some reason, she was grinning as she looked at me. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. She was here to kill me at last. It was because I had talked to those cops. She had used clairvoyant powers to see me doing it remotely. And now she'd snuck into my room without making a sound so she could watch me cry and scream and beg for mercy. And then kill me. I knew it! Don't kill me! I tried to scream, but I was too scared to get the words out. She stared at me, tilting her head, and recited a strange spell. She must be speaking in a demon language. She was going to curse me. I tried to hide under my desk to put as much distance between us as I could, but I was panicking so much that I hit my head on the edge instead and crumpled to the ground in pain. She still had a happy smile on her face, but it was just a trap to get me to drop my guard. I was sure of it. The second I let my guard down, she would come for me, or maybe that spell a second ago had cursed me. In a few days, my body would start spurting blood from all its pores, and then I would die. I curled up into a little ball on the floor, cursing the detectives I had met earlier.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
警察？
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
That was just a lie I told to buy time. The detectives had said they would protect me. If that older guy was doing his job right, he would surely send an officer to protect me. Then I realized I had told the officer my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address. She suddenly struck a pose like she was at attention. And then even more strange, she made a sound effect of her hand snapping to attention with her mouth. Was this another demon spell?
独り言はやめるべし。殺さないでとか警察がどうとか私には何のことかさっぱりだよ。
She didn't know? Was this some kind of joke? Or was this her way of telling me to forget that anything had ever happened? What was this girl thinking? Hadn't she come here to kill me?
ほら立てる？立とう。
She got up from the sofa and offered me a hand. Her expression looked so kind, and up close, I could tell that she was pretty cute. Wait, what had gotten into me? She was a demon. She wasn't pretty cute. She was a murderer. She had used Yua and Shogun to try and set me up, and now she was here to kill me herself. I couldn't let myself believe her. I had learned my lesson with Yua. I would never make the same mistake again. I didn't take the hand she offered me. I couldn't let her smile fool me. It was a demonic temptation, and if I gave into it, I would die. Don't believe in anything. Don't listen to anything anyone says.
だって見たんだ。お前が人を殺してるとこ。
あのさタク、それかなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてる？
It's kind of mean to tell me I committed gruesome murder. Do you not have any manners, Taku?
まさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてね。ははは。
It's hard to believe you're calling me a killer. Ha ha ha. What was she doing here?
ニュージェネの
Lady Utter 4 times.
殺すんでしょ。それとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって。
ユア？将軍？誰それ？
Maybe the three of them were going to work together and kill me when I was helpless.
そんなのやだ。助けて。
じゃあね、 私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげる。
I knew it.
ってそんなビビらないでよ。いちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね。
お願いだ。もう二度と誰にも喋らないから。だから見逃して。
もしもーし、タク、ちょっと落ち着こう。
She kept calling me Taco, like we were friends. How did she know my name anyway? She had known my name when we had first met at the scene of Crucified. How? And how did she know where the base was?
当然でしょ。あなたの名前を知ってるのは。
She read my mind! She had magic clairvoyant powers. I knew it! That's how she found my name and address.
タクって結構独り言多いよね。前から思ってたことだけど。
Always? Since when was always? Wait, was I talking to myself? I couldn't tell. Really? Was I really talking to myself? Or was it possible she was lying? Was it possible she read my mind?
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ。私、物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど、友達の名前くらい覚えるよ。
Friend?
それともタク、私のことバカにしてる？そりゃ私、テストの点数はそんなに良くないけど、面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな。
Was she crazy? Wait, how could I be sure she was the crazy one? Was I crazy? Or was she?
もしかして転校生？
そういえば近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよ。チカチン先生が言ってた。
We were talking past each other. The fear that I could be killed at any moment was starting to fade. But instead, another type of fear was slowly working its way through my heart.
もしもし？その顔はまさか、まだ信じてくれてない？
誰だ？
Who are you? She was a demon girl, a murderer.
タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。ひどー。
We're classmates? Not just friends, but classmates?
でもまあしょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。だからって私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。私の名前本当に忘れちゃった？そんなことないよね。知ってるでしょ？あなたは知ってるはず。
Me.
み
In our delusions, we can actually get new information?
そう、正解！賞金50円プレゼント。
It's interesting.
私、崎畑りみです。なんだ、やっぱり覚えててくれたんだね。よかったよかった。
Why? Was it true? Was the demon girl's name really Rimi? Why had that name just come to me all of a sudden? Why did I know who she was? Had I just forgotten and we really were classmates or friends or something? No, that wasn't possible. I had never even heard the name Rimi Sakihata. It had to be a fake name. I had said Rimi and she had just played along with it. This was all just part of her game. The only pretty girl I knew who would talk to me like this was Yua, anyway. And Yua worked for her. In a flash, I suddenly understood. The Sakihata girl was using the same trick Yua had used. She was being all friendly, knowing that I wasn't used to talking to pretty girls. Then she would set me up to fall into a trap. Of course, I didn't remember the faces of all my classmates, and I wasn't interested in trying. But I was sure I would never see her in my class. Wasn't I? No, I couldn't be sure. Every minute I spent at school I spent at my desk, either enjoying delusions while pretending to sleep, or staring at a desk, or pretending to read a textbook. I didn't remember any of my classmates' names. I had never cared enough. Which was it? Was what this girl was saying true? No, it didn't matter whether or not she was a classmate. The one thing I was sure of was that she was a murderer.
もしかして本気で思い出せないの？さっき頭打ったせいで記憶喪失になっちゃった？
The demon girl reached out a hand towards my head. I ran under the desk again to dodge it.
タク、変だよ。じゃあ大地に聞いてみて。そしたらタクも思い出せるかも。
Daichin? What the hell was that? A person's name? Some kind of code? A demon spell?
大地だよ、大地。ミスミ大輔。
She knew Misumi's name? And she called him Daichin? Wouldn't do that unless you were pretty friendly with him.
ちょっと待ってね。
She went over to the bag next to the sofa. It wasn't one that I owned, and took out her phone.
大地はと。よし、オッケー。はい。
She tapped it a few times and handed it to me. When I didn't take it, she chuckled and grabbed my hand.
ほら、固まってないで。
She forced the phone into my hand. The demon girl's hand was soft and a little cold. I was expecting it to be as cold as ice, but it wasn't. I guess even murderers have warm blood running through their veins. Actually, it was a more girly hand than I expected, so my heart started to race a little. No, I couldn't let her fool me. She was a demon. I couldn't let her tempt me. I wasn't into 3D girls. Say, Rattan, give me power!
タク、携帯使ったことないの？電話機は耳に当てるんだよ。
She was so close to me, staring. She took my hand and brought it up to my ear. I looked at the phone's LCD screen. The phone said Daichin on it, and it showed that it was already calling him. I put the phone up to my ear. I could hear the sound of the ringing. But then the sound cut off, and what I heard was... in his voice. Was he talking to me? Was she the demon girl? Why had he said that? Whoever I was talking to, they went silent. They didn't give a name. He must have been outside somewhere downtown because I could hear the hustle and bustle of a crowd around them. I was confused. I couldn't speak. I didn't know what to say. Misumi, if it really was him, quickly resumed speaking as he usually did. Rimi Sakihata. Misumi knew her? No, that wouldn't be that surprising. Misumi was a natural-born lady killer. I wouldn't be surprised if he had dated her before, or even if he was dating her right now. The question remained, was the demon girl my classmate?
タク、大地出た？
She was staring at me again. Damn it, why did she have to be so close to me? I turned my back to her and spoke into the phone.
僕、西条。
なんだ、タクか。リミと一緒にいるのか？
Why didn't he find it surprising at all? It almost sounded like he expected us to be together.
またリミに振り回されてるのか？大変だな、お前も。
Again? Again? Again?
でもよ、一つだけ言っていいか？お前、そろそろ自分の携帯変えよ。
Was the person at the end of this line really Misumi? It was possible that she was just having me call somebody with a voice similar to his, to fool me. The person with the Misumi-like voice was working for her, maybe, and trying to trick me. I was starting to get suspicious of everything. I didn't know what was the truth and what was a lie. Assuming the demon girl was willing to put in the time and effort to set up a trap like that, what kind of trap was it specifically? Wouldn't it be faster for her to just kill me here? Or was there some reason that I had to be deceived, even if it meant doing so in a really roundabout way? Wait, could it be some kind of trick Misumi was setting up? This girl was his girlfriend and not a classmate at all, but sometimes he had sent just to make someone he had sent just to make fun of me. No, wait, not a chance. How would you explain to Cruz if I'd murdered him?
で、タク、なんか用か？俺としては野郎からの電話なんてあんま嬉しくねえんだけどな。
It certainly sounded like Misumi. The more I heard him talk, the less likely it seemed that the person I was talking to could be anybody but Misumi.
女の口説き方でも教えてもらいたいのか？なわけねえか。
I wasn't sure where to start. I could feel someone looking at me from behind. The girl was staring at me. And the prickling on the back of my neck was still there. What kind of face was she making? I wanted to look back and see, but I was too scared.
で、なんなんだ？今俺も女と一緒なんだよ。なるべく手短に頼むわ。
その、
なんだよ。早く言えって。
うちのクラス
ああ、うちのクラスがどうした？
いる
何か？
女子先畑って名前の。
I was stammering really badly, but I finally managed to explain to him. He suddenly fell silent. There was no answer, but I could still hear the bustle of the crowd, so he hadn't hung up. Why wasn't he answering? What kind of fucking sound was that? What? I heard a massive sigh.
お前さ、ゲーム脳じゃねえの？
What was he talking about? And anyway, it wasn't true that video games damaged your brain.
それってリミのことだろ？リミの携帯でかけてきてるくせに何バカなこと言ってんだお前。わかった。お前もしかしてリミに何か指図されてんだろ？いたずらか？ドッキリか？じゃあリミに伝えといてくれ。お前の低レベルのドッキリに引っかかるほど俺はバカじゃねえってな。
本当？
何が？
本当にクラスメイト。
お前な、たまにしか学校来ねえから忘れちまったか？俺はともかく、お前は1年の時から同じクラスだろ？この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
We did? We did? I couldn't understand what this Misuki-like person was saying. Demon Girl and I had been in the same class the whole time? The three of us went to see a movie the other day? When was the other day?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって。最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだったしな。俺と同じでリミも物好きだからよ。ニートのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミぐらいだぜ。あ、それは言い過ぎか。
Not a single one of the words coming from the phone felt real. How could they? None of the things he was describing existed in my memories. I couldn't accept that they had ever happened. What this Misumi-like person was telling me wasn't true. It wasn't real. If something really happened, you remembered it.
っていうか、リミってマジで女っ気ないよな。おっ、これはあいつには言うなよ。
君は誰だ？
おいおい、マジでおかしくなったか？俺のことまで忘れたわけか？ゲームやりすぎ。
Couldn't take any more, so I hung up the phone. I suddenly realized I was having trouble breathing. The sweat coming off my brow showed no signs of stopping. If anything, it was getting worse. I could feel it dripping off me and landing on the ground below.
たく、汗びっしょりだよ。
Demon Girl looked genuinely worried as she handed me a handkerchief. It was a cute red one with no pattern on it. The handkerchief had a slightly floral scent. I didn't take it. Instead, I tried to get straight in my head what was going on. It didn't work, though. I just started getting suspicious of everything.
で、大臣はなんて？
She gave a slightly disappointed sigh as she put away the handkerchief. Then she took on a victor's smile. It was as if she had known the answer from the start. I didn't have the strength to answer her. Who was this woman? Just my classmate? Or a monster? I didn't know. Maybe I was just crazy. Thinking back to my chat with Shogun, I couldn't be sure that someone else wasn't controlling my body. Or maybe there was some kind of accident that took my memories of this Rimi Sakihata girl away from me, and left my other memories intact. What the hell was wrong with me? Amnesia? Sleepwalking? Something else?
大丈夫？体、辛いならソファーで横になる？
The demon girl spoke kind words to me. I needed to be especially careful around anyone who said kind words to me. Anybody who would be nice to a creepy otaku like me definitely had some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head no and then forced myself to look up. The sweat got in my eyes and made my vision blurry. Her face was closer than I thought it would be. What color were her eyes?
なんで
何何？
ここにいる？
なんでって、タクに会いに来たんだよ。もしかして、勝手に部屋に入ったこと、
Yeah?
怒ってる？
Yeah, that is a pretty good reason to be mad.
でもそれは、タクがちっとも返事してくれないから悪いんだよ。結構長い時間、ノックしてたんだから。
I handed back the phone. As I watched her take it, I asked it again.
なんで？
ん？今度は何？
ここにいる。
Why had she visited me? If she came here to kill me, why wasn't she doing anything?
ああ、ここに来た理由？ね。
Her hand went to her bag, and she took out a handout.
はい。進路希望のプリント、持ってきてあげたの。
I took it from her. It said post-graduation plans with 3 blocks below for first preference, second preference, and third preference. Was that really it? Was that the only reason?
帰ってよ。
I didn't want anything to do with her. It was a terrible idea to get involved with 3D girls. This was some kind of trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't real. This is a video game. A really buggy game. Look at all these weird plot contradictions. It doesn't make any sense as a story.
僕に関わらないでよ。
If you're not here to kill me, then just go away. I'm me, not somebody else. Maybe some other me was friends with Rimi Sakihata, but that had nothing to do with the real me. I put my head in my hands and closed my heart to the outside world. I shivered, trying to imagine a delusion where the girl named Rimi Sakihata wasn't in my room. I soon heard the sound of the door opening, which told me that the demon girl had left. The only light in the dark room was the pale blue glow of the monitor. It was a screensaver featuring Seira, a character from Blood Tuned the Animation. Rimi Sakihata had been here in this container house just half a day ago, but now its only occupant was its owner, Takumi Nishijo. It was getting close to 5 a.m. Takumi's daily life revolved around playing video games until dawn, and then passing out on the sofa. Right now, he was curled up in a cramped position on the sofa. He didn't sleep on the bed. He had one, but he didn't sleep in it because it was piled too high with CDs and manga volumes. At first, he had just been too lazy to clean it off, and at some point, it began to function as a storage shelf. Ever since then, he had been sleeping on a 2-person sofa. An awful moan slipped from Takumi's lips. His body was soaked with sweat, and his eyelids were twitching. He might have been having a nightmare. His expression warped with pain. He kept tossing and turning as he lay there, almost falling off. Suddenly, his eyes opened wide, and he stared at the ceiling. His eyes were bloodshot, and the eyeballs themselves seemed to be twitching a little. He stood up without blinking even once and staggered over to his PC. He didn't sit down. Instead, he moved the mouse while standing up. The screensaver on his monitor disappeared and was replaced by his desktop. His expression, illuminated by the pale light of the monitor, was vacant and empty. His body trembled and shook from side to side. Drool pulled and fell from his mouth. He looked exactly like the typical sleepwalker. He opened up his internet browser in a trance and went to the page for Achan. His movements were slow and uneven, but there was no hesitation in his hands as he went directly for the news board's new gen threads. There were almost 60 in all, and Takumi opened every single one. His gaze was locked into the screen, and he was typing on a keyboard while looking down at it. He typed a message into each of the 60 threads. The messages he typed were short ones, and the same message was posted in every thread. So, okay, so he is Shogun. Damn. It's really just a DID story, isn't it? I still hope that the DID is a red herring, because they showed the, like, Wikipedia page for DID pretty early in the story. So I'm gonna keep on hoping that that's gonna be just like... Oh! Thank you so much for the raid, Sai Najimu! How was your stream? What are you doing? And thank you so much for the follow, Virtual Rejects. Welcome to the galaxy. Hope you enjoy it here. Hi. I'm Hitomi Hoshino. I'm a chaotic purple VTuber who is playing through Chaos Had Noah today, which is a very, very normal visual novel. And you guys just missed a crazy plot twist. We're checking out a VN called Paper Perjury. It was very Ace Attorney-ish. Oh, I haven't heard of that. Paper Perjury. It does look very Ace Attorney-ish. How is it? Is it better than Ace Attorney? I'm kind of like not a fan of Ace Attorney yet. I've talked about that on stream because in my opinion, it is written for written as if the audience is quite dumb. At least that was my experience, because I only played, which one was it? Because I was given one of them. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. I survived like an hour and a half before I realized that the game is treating me like I'm stupid, and I couldn't continue. My apologies, Capcom. Hi, spooky, ghastly ghost. Boo, scary. Hi, welcome to the stream. How's it going? It's having a solid start so far. It's more grounded, to say the least. Nice, but does it still, like, basically over-explain everything? Because that was my main issue with Apollo Justice and why I couldn't continue it anymore. How normal is this VN? I'm gonna say it this way. It is not weird enough or bad enough for me to not be able to stream it on Twitch. So there are worse things out there, right? But if you're familiar with the science adventure VNs, yeah, totally normal. Yeah, so Chaos Had Noah is the first I guess Chaos Head specifically is the first game in the science adventure series, which you might like recognize Steins Gate. I think that's the most popular one. So this came before Steins Gate. I played a little bit of Steins Gate ages ago. I remember playing it. I had a PSP emulator on my Android phone like years ago. and I was playing through it. And I wanna, like, once we play through this, I do wanna, like, continue with the Science Adventure series and play Steins Gate, but it's the kind of, like, annoying thing that, like, if I wanna stream it, then, and I wanna do the PC version, then I would have to, like, just start all the way from scratch, even though I logged, like, 10 hours in the original PSP version. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll see how much. I'm already thinking about the next visual novel. Are we gonna finish this one? Because this shit is pretty long too. I mean, I guess I don't really know, like, once we're doing, like, once we finish the first run and we start doing the future endings, if there's, like, a lot of text that you skip, or if there's still, like, a shit load of reading. It will be a while till you finish this one, so you'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, we're only on the 3rd stream. So it's gonna take a while for me to even do the first playthrough. Especially, like, because obviously if I'm doing it on stream, that's what... I found something on the floor. I was, like, just touched it with my foot and I was confused. Sorry. I lost my train of thought. No! So I know what Steins Gate, to be honest, it has time travel in it. Well, but that's for Steins Gate, right? It's not that's not the bit in every single science adventure visual novel. Oh. Yeah, I only played, well, I'm playing this and I played a little bit of Steins Gate, so I still actually, like, don't know what happens in the other ones. What's the gimmick for this one? So this one is about, like, you have these, like, super gruesome murders, happening in Shibuya, and the MC was a witness to one of them. And we're just sort of figuring out, like, what these murders... Oh yeah, and the other gimmick is that the MC is the delusional. Because, like, the whole, like, gameplay sort of... like, because you know how in visual novels usually you have to make some sort of choices? Here the choices are just like, do you want to have a positive delusion? Do you want to see the reality? Or do you want to see the negative delusion? Because the MC just falls into great delusions all of the time. Which is another thing that I wonder, because we were wondering if this is just going to be another, like, a dissociative identity disorder. Where I wonder if these delusions are actually him sort of going into another personality and stuff like that, right? But I'm really hoping that that's not the case, and it's not gonna be, it's not gonna be DID, and it's gonna be, like, my hope is it's gonna be something more, like, supernatural, you know? Did MC is a Disco Elysium character? Oh god, don't remind me of Disco Elysium. I stopped streaming that. Imagine finishing games. You're going to be surprised regardless. Possibly, but don't tell me anything. Please, no spoilers. Okay? Not even suggestions. I'm still very early in the game, you know? Imagine Hitomi ever finishing a game. Oh my god, so here's the thing. Twitch used to have this, like, now deprecated feature called a moment, which was basically, like, you could do these, like, super special clips. That you were limited to 5 a month. And it was just, like, basically, like, a super special clip. And I was using it whenever I would finish a game on stream, because it was such a rare occurrence. I think we got, like, I think that happened, like, 3 times. I genuinely don't know if out of games that require more than 10 hours of gameplay, I have finished on stream more than 3. And then when it comes to actually, like, even finishing myself, I'm not sure I finished more than, like, 5 in my lifetime. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I just get distracted and I play another game. And I never finish because I need to touch the new thing. I don't want to finish the old thing. I need to touch the new thing. You know, like I already focused on something else. I need to play something else. I'm going off purely on vibe. I also like do not have this sort of completionist nature that some people do. So like I don't really care if I have a shitload of games that I never finished, right? There aren't hot men kissing. Hitomi won't focus on the game. Here's the crazy thing. I haven't even like finished Dramatical Murder, which is like the yaoi game, right? Like that's, if you think of like yaoi games, that's the yaoi game. And I haven't even finished that one ever. And that's pretty bad. On top of that, we were also doing like slow damage streams, which is like another like BL visual novel from the same company that made Dramatical Murder. And we were doing those streams in Discord, and I stopped doing them for a while. I should get back to that. But I guess the problem with doing the slow damage streams is sort of just partially because it's on Discord and partially because I assume not everyone wants to see weird yaoi. You just isn't like much an audience for it, and like sometimes I would literally just like be there and sit there on my own, and you just kind of like don't know if to just play the game or wait for someone to join in. It's kind of awkward, right? Get the MS Paint drawing back here. I got you. This is beautiful fan art of me healing. This is my therapy. I said I was sick, and one of my community members decided to have that. Did you have that on standby? I was showing this in the previous stream, so it was still added to my OBS. I just had to, like, unhide the layer. I see it now. I want to go back and get more detail. Oh my god. Matt, you should, like, do it in like a hyper-realistic style. Just spend, like, a year on it, painting, like, the most life-accurate painting in your whole lifetime. For the bit. It already has, like, really funny details. The fact that you have, like, the heart rate monitor and stuff is killing me. This is one of the drawings I've seen. Yeah. This is why you should... If you're enjoying this content, you should follow me, and you should also join my Discord server to get more beautiful content as such. You know? Oh god. Oh, I need to crack my bones. Ugh. I need an actual art thing, not MS Paint. Don't worry, your art is beautiful either way. Boy kissing is my sustenance. I can't live without it. Hitomi, very likely. Why are you clocking me like this? This is your first time here. What the fuck? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just like, damn. You know? I'm just like, damn. Hey, first impressions are important. Yeah. What a first impression. What a first impression that I have. Jesus Christ. While yaoi ain't my thing, I don't judge. I'm not exactly a normie either. This is a vtuber stream. No one here is a normie. Because normies wouldn't be here. Thank you so much for the follow, Sai. Welcome to the galaxy. Hope you enjoy it here. Welcome to whatever this is. The only times I find myself finishing games and logging in for a week and playing literally nothing else, the curse of too many games. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that, like, I get hyper-focused on something, and then, like, 5 days later, I get hyper-focused on something else. So I drop the first thing, and then it's just an endless loop of me doing that. Sometimes tourists find their way. Don't use the word tourist! That's crazy. I think I'm behaving rather well in comparison then. In comparison to me, yeah, probably. I don't think that's necessarily objectively difficult. Tourist derogatory. It fits. There's a bit of a, I mean, maybe it's because I've been on too much Twitter and I've seen too much, like, 4chan posts or whatever, but like, I know that, like, a VTuber tourist is sort of a little bit of a different meaning. Because it's usually more so, like, a very casual fake fan, and in terms of, like, VTubing, I usually see it as, like, those people who, like, hate on a specific VTuber without even, like, regularly watching them and things like that. Like, usually that's how you, that's what you, whenever you say, like, oh, this is like a VTuber tourist, or like, this is like this game's tourist, it's usually something like that. I am a professional fake fan. Thank you very much. Okay. If you're a professional fake fan, name 3 worst Hitomi moments of all time. Show us your PhD. PhD in fake fanism. The 3 times you finished a game ruined your image. God damn it! I'll give you that. That was pretty fucking good. That was a pretty good comeback. I just ended up here from the Project collab. Oh, hi! Yeah, I never know sort of like how to feel about anyone discovering me through the Project collab, because I feel like I am such a weird individual in comparison. I wonder, like, I truly wonder what my image is when, or like what the first impressions are when people see those collabs and that's the way that they meet me. Wait, what, Project? Yeah, we're doing, we're playing Split Fiction together. He's a friend. We're actually gonna continue tomorrow. Did you expect that? Walking into some random tiny streamer and then being like, oh yeah, I'm collabing with Project tomorrow, what's up? What a crazy place Twitch is. I thought it was a fun dynamic, so I joined the Discord now today, caught the stream. Nice! Yeah, no, I do have to say, like, even, like, taking a... Because obviously, like, I'm having a lot of fun, just streaming with him and playing the games and stuff and bantering. But even, like, taking a step back, like, I do think that it's... We have a very fun and entertaining dynamic of the way that we interact. So I think I think, like, content-wise, it's also pretty fun to watch. I was actually surprised that there were people who, like, you know, like, saw the, like, live collab and then went back to watch either, like, the VODs either on, like, Jared's channel or my channel to sort of catch up with everything. And I don't know, like, I'm always surprised when someone watches full VODs, you know? He's a friend. Hitomi bullier of the pro Jared boomer Hoshino. Yep. Yeah. I'm not sorry, Jared. There's a clip of there's that one clip that I said perfectly sums up our dynamic. Let me throw you guys a link. This. I think this is... just watch this short. If you've never seen me and Jared collab yet, just watch this short and you'll know exactly what to expect tomorrow. Because the thing is that, like, obviously we're not just like a bit, it's not just a bit of an age gap, but we're literally from different generations. So it does come down to me sort of just calling him old a lot. That's my mistake, you're right. Yeah, is... I'm glad that he's aware. Tend to watch Pro Jared's VODs since I'm not in the same time zone as him, so it's hard to catch his streams. Yeah, the Split Fiction collabs are a bit at an earlier time for him, so that I can participate, because the collabs start 2 hours earlier than the current time is. Right? Wait, Pro Jared streams? Yeah! Yeah, so we do the collabs like an hour later than my usual stream time. But still it's like way earlier on his side. Just start calling him Jared. No, I'm gonna keep on calling him old. I saw people call him Jared in like chat, and like is that like a whole thing? Cause like I think I've said this before. When we met a few months ago, I had no clue who he was. I didn't even know he was like kind of famous, right? Cause the content that he makes on YouTube is not really stuff I would watch. Not that it's like, I'm not saying like it's like a bad or anything, it's just like the topics are not what interests me, right? So I have never seen the dude in my life. As the name he uses when there is a character limit in old games. Ah, yeah. Oh, no, I think we talked about that actually. Because I also get annoyed when there's a character limit. For example, when I play Japanese visual novels that let you rename the main character. Like, very often Japanese limits you to, like, 4 or 5 characters. Because, you know, in Japanese, it's normal that you can usually write your full name in 5 characters. But then I have to name myself, like, Tomi instead of Hitomi. And it annoys me every single time. The one time I recently played on a Toma game that had exactly 6 characters, so I could perfectly write Hitomi. I think that was the Genso Manager that we were playing on stream. Like, had exactly 6 characters, so I could actually put my full name. It was great. Oh god, I've been yapping. Because I was actually, like, thinking of, like, stopping here. Yeah. But then, like, we just yapped and yapped and yapped. Hey, note, if a game allows Hitomi to put her full name, it won't work. No, but I've been playing it on... It works on the Steam Deck, right? That's the interesting thing. Still genuinely mind-boggling. Like, how did you find each other specifically? He posted on Blue Sky something about, like, VTubers or, like, making friends with VTubers or something. And I replied because it just showed on my, like, For You page on Blue Sky. And, you know, on Blue Sky, at the time, he had, like, 3,000 or 4,000 followers. So I didn't think he was big. Because I said I didn't know who he was. So I just responded. And it was like, hi. And then we just kind of chatted in DMs and stuff. And for, like, 4 months, we couldn't find any game to play together. Until Split Fiction came out. it can be quite difficult to find a game to collab on when your content is so different, right? Thank you so much for the raid, Nico! Hell yeah! Everyone follow Nico, they're pretty cool. What were you doing? Oh, Digimon story. Ooh. I was thinking of playing what was the other Digimon game? The like depressing visual novel one. I forgot what it was. I had it in my cart when it was on sale on Steam. It was like minus 75% off, and I forgot to buy it. Yeah, Digimon Survive. Thank you. You know what's crazy about Digimon? Like what I found about Digimon Survive only recently, that Digimon Survive is like the developer of Digimon Survive is the same developer as the developer of my favorite Automa visual novel. I found that out by accident recently, and that is what made me like, you know what? Maybe I do really want to play that. But now I have to wait for it to go on sale again. I'm gonna see. Is it on sale now? Oh, it actually is somewhere. I'll see, because I already started another visual novel. God damn it. But yeah, thank you so much for the raid. How's your stream? Hi, Crusoe. Welcome. Oh yeah, I should introduce myself. Hi, Raiders. I'm Hitomi Hoshino. I'm a chaotic purple VTuber who does so many things on stream. I'm a yapper, I'm a singer, I'm a gamer. I get distracted and never finish games. And today we're playing Chaos Had Noah, which is a very normal visual novel. It's from the same series as Steins Gate, if you have heard of that. And we're having a lot of fun. The most normal visual novel. I love that I was literally like talking about like, oh, I think I'm gonna end, and then I said that once, I got a raid, then I yapped for 25 minutes, and I was like, maybe I should end the stream and get another raid. It's like the universe is telling me to keep on yapping. There's no end on the... There is no end. There's only yap. Oh my god. I'm such a good yapper. I don't know, man. You're trapped in the yaposphere. God. There's I'm also like looking forward to like reading a BL on my phone, because I was going to tell you guys about that. I started reading more yaoi again. That's how you know I'm recovering, or maybe that's why I'm recovering, according to the image right here. Oh, I'm gonna keep this in OBS. This is the best fan art I've ever received. But, I started reading this one that was like literally chapter 2, and this dude has like a crush on another dude, and he suddenly like saw the other man's phone, and he saw like a Grindr notification, right? So then like 5 minutes later they talk, and he's like, do you fuck men? Can you fuck me? You know what? But like, I respect it. Shoot your shot, man. Why is it up again? Because we're talking about a related topic. Isn't that obvious? Ito, how do you feel about the horror genre? I don't play any horror. I'm really bad with horror. Like, I get really anxious and stuff, and I don't play horror games at all. If it's like purely like psychological horror, that's fine with me. but not like anything that would like actually make me feel uneasy. Not even horror VNs. So if it's very traditional VN format, it's fine. But if it's like those like weird ass horror VNs that will actually jump scare you and like something weird will happen, then that will make me feel too uneasy to want to. I might need to add a signature onto the next version. Oh, my bad. Wait, dude. Just give me a moment. Am I typing your name correctly? Yep. Okay. And then... There. You got your art credit. Did I type that correctly? Yeah. Now you can be truly proud of your beautiful artwork. Jump scares. I tried nothing and I'm out of ideas approach for horror. Yeah, no, kind of, but like, I don't know, like, usually even if like a horror game is good, they would still like use a jump scare here and there, right? I mean, even when I'm playing like Chaos Head, there's sometimes these like moments where it feels like a sentence is being like cut off in the middle of a sentence, right? And a line is being cut off in the middle of a sentence, and I'm scared that if I press to the next line, it's gonna like jump scare me. There was one moment already where there was like there's even a clip of me commenting on that there was like the girl turned around slowly, and then you click to the next line, and her face is just right there, and I screamed. But yeah, I cannot do horror. I also, another thing is like, I can't do gore. I'm trying, like, this game, I can't get through it because it's not as graphic. Usually, like, you don't get as much detail and stuff. But anything that has more graphic gore or gore that sort of stays longer on the screen, I can't. Ugh. Anyway, I should go. I need to eat. I need to finish my life to decommission. I need to do many things. I need to read yaoi in bed. But thank you everyone for hanging out today. It was super fun. I'm genuinely very happy that I can play a visual novel now, and there's people who actually want to like watch it and spend time with me. Because, you know, when I was like a significantly smaller streamer, I'm still tiny, but even when I was smaller, like, I had to sort of stay away from games like this because it would literally get zero viewership. So I'm glad that there's now like people who enjoy me playing through this game or other visual novels. Thank you guys. I want to raid Dani, also known as Smuggies. They're participating in some like Marvel Rivals event, and I want to support that. They're also absolutely great, and I love them. Reminder that tomorrow we're continuing Split Fiction with Jared, and the stream will start like an hour later than my usual stream time. So if you want to see us yell at each other and insult each other, be there! Yay! Also, everyone who's new, make sure to join the Discord if you want to yap with me more off stream, and, you know, follow the Twitter. Thanks everyone again. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye!